If you enjoy quarterback showdowns, you've stopped at the right place. Stanford's Andrew Luck, everyone's Heisman Trophy favorite. And USC's Matt Barkley, who, like Luck, is a projected first-round draft choice. Well, the Stars have always loved Los Angeles, and tonight, Luck versus Barkley is a wonderful feature attraction. You are looking at Memorial Coliseum, where two top quarterbacks prepare to face off in Los Angeles. And the USC Trojans will be the best test yet for the Stanford Cardinal. Well, Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk, what do you make of Stanford's opportunity here tonight?
This is the stage I think they've really wanted all year. If you look at this point, they've only beaten one team with a winning record. That was Washington last week. The teams combined have a 20-30 record. So finally they go up against opponent. They get some national exposure. USC right now is feeling pretty good about themselves. So let's see if Stanford can not only win this game, but look good doing it.
You know, Herbie, I can't remember a game in which we have had two quarterbacks that are ballyhooed as much as these two. When you look at the statistics and how they're performing this year, both are having remarkable All-American type seasons.
It's incredible. And the thing that stands out, the completion percentage and both the touchdown to interception ratio. That's the most impressive thing, because I think it speaks volumes about the experience that both of them have and their ability to make quick decisions and get the ball out to their playmakers. For Andrew Luck, it's going to start tonight with his running game. They've got to be able to run the football to take some of the pressure off of him, set up their play action, and then for Matt Barkley, he's got to find playmakers in space against a very physical Stanford defense.
You know, Herbie, I thought that USC played its best game of the year against Notre Dame. How about their defense versus Andrew Luck now?
It's going to be a challenge, obviously, because of the balance and versatility of the way Stanford can attack you. Big offensive line, big tight ends, undersized USC defense. Because of that, they're going to have to commit 8, sometimes 9 guys up to the line of scrimmage, take their chances in man-to-man coverage, but you're going to have to do that to stop the Cardinals' running game. Remember, last week Stanford rushed for 446 yards against Washington, a school record, so they're coming in with a great deal of confidence in their ability to run the ball.
Well, Herbie, if the World Series didn't drain everybody, settle back in. We think we've got more excitement coming your way tonight from Los Angeles. Yeah! And here they come. Beaten only once this year, and that was by Arizona State. So this has been the Nissan pregame shift. Kickoff coming up live from the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Southern California kind of weather. Just a beautiful night here at the Los Angeles Coliseum for USC and Stanford. Now, Lane Kiffin, the second-year coach at USC, won the coin flip and elected to defer. It means that Andrew Luck and Stanford will get the ball first. David Shaw is the first-year coach there. So let's go now to Aaron Andrews with David.
Brent, thanks so much. You told us you've gone up against Monty Kiffin's defenses for years in the pros and in college. In your mind, how does your offense have the most success against him tonight?
Well, you know, the thing with Monty is you better be ready to adjust. He's going to try to take something away. He's going to try to scheme our protection, scheme our running game. So we've got to be ready to make some changes during the course of the game.
What do you anticipate the first adjustment will be?
Well, I don't know. We got to wait and see. We don't see a lot of what we do on film to really decide what people are going to do for us. So we put our stuff out there and see what they do against us.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, Brent.
Thank you, Aaron. Andrew Luck versus Matt Barkley. Ball is on the tee for the Trojans. Andre Hadari, who was nicked up a little bit a week ago, is back to kick it off. And Chris Owosu, the #1 wide receiver for the Cardinal, back deep. And our journey begins. Owosu from the 1. Down at the 17-yard line, Herbie, and here comes Andrew Luck, and I know that you rave about his offensive line.
Yeah, I love his offensive line, but obviously his leadership will be big tonight. I think he has a calming effect on this team, and a lot of analysts have talked said a lot of things about him over the last couple years, but I think one of the things you'll see tonight is the way the intangibles can impact the football game and the way he leads with such poise, especially in a tough environment like this.
This team ran for over 400 yards a week ago now. Stephen Taylor out of Mansfield, Texas will be the first running back, and looks like there's a substitution situation as they bring in another tight end late onto the field, and Zach Ertz came out. So Fleener, Toilolo, and there you can see in the backfield they line up to show power. Taylor is your eye back. And they give him a dose of that power running right away to the 23-yard line.
Well, the impact players tonight, Andrew Luck is obvious. Stephen Taylor last week had a big game. He can also catch the ball to the backfield. Kobe Fleener, they'd love to get him the ball. If you commit too many men to the line of scrimmage and respect the running game, look for Fleener to get behind that kind of coverage. And Chase Thomas is a flat-out warrior for the Stanford defense. We'll see him, number 44, when the Cardinals take the field on that side of the ball.
So they go 3 wide, but the ability of the tight ends mean they do not have to substitute personnel. And Luck's first pass is completed, and he goes to Chris Owosu, who returned the kickoff for the first down to the 35-yard line.
Just a simple read off to his right, and it's the balanced attack that Stanford has. They do such a good job of complementing one another. Andrew Luck, for obvious reasons, gets most of the attention, but if you talk to defensive coordinators at prep and try to get ready for the Stanford attack, first thing they talk about is you have to commit some guys to the line of scrimmage, and because of that, it opens up some one-on-one opportunities for Luck in the passing game.
Ryan Hewitt will be your fullback, and he will lead Taylor to the left side, and he is stoned at the line of scrimmage by Dion Bailey, number 18, a redshirt freshman from Lakewood.
And he leads the Trojans in tackles. He's undersized, and that's a matchup to watch in this game, Brent. He's a former safety that they've moved up to outside linebacker to give him more speed on the field. He's only 200 pounds, so it's his speed tonight against the size and the execution of the Stanford offensive line, and that time he used that speed to get right by those big linemen and make the play.
Now they switch Jonathan Martin back over to the left side. Play action, and Luck looks downfield, steps up, got a wide open target, and a good catch at the 45-yard line. Kobe Fleener, and Andrews threw that a touch high, but Fleener went up for a 21-yard gain.
Even on second down and long, you still see a lot of people up close to the line of scrimmage and how quickly they respect the running game. But I think it was the ball was thrown a little bit behind Fleener, but it was just the route and the execution. The safety got lost in coverage, and it opened things up to the outside there for Fleener.
So far, Stanford offense doing everything right. Come back with Taylor, and he is stopped again, and Bailey jumped in and made his second tackle of this game.
It's impressive to see that, Brent, because of Bailey's quickness against this offensive line. I mean, look at the size of these guys. And I would say that we've seen Wisconsin, but I would put the Stanford offensive line up there with anybody as far as being the top offensive lineman in the country.
Now, Wilkerson and Gaffney check in as the running backs behind that line. Two of those fellows are first-round draft choices, Jonathan Martin and David DeCastro.
Andrew Luck down at the bottom of your screen right now.
So here comes our first trick play. The Wildcat look. The direct snap is to Gaffney. Gaffney trying to find the edge on that far side, and he is short of the first down. You've always got to wonder, Herbie, when you take the ball out of number 12's hands.
Right.
If you got a home run play, I won't second guess.
That's okay, right.
But if he doesn't touch the ball, I'm after second guessing.
You know, and it's not because he doesn't have the athletic ability to run. It's more they want to protect him when they decide to give you a little change-up and a little wrinkle for the SC defense to deal with. Here's third and manageable, which is important for Stanford tonight to stay on schedule.
Gaffney stays on the field. On the move. Complete for the first down. To the 15-yard line, Griff Whalen.
Here's the poise in the pocket. You can almost feel the NFL analyst breaking this one down. Look at the feel. Doesn't panic. Just slides a little to the right. Actually throws the ball on the move. Shows some toughness after the throw, but puts the ball right on the money. And here's the relationship between Luck and his receivers. Griff Whalen on one side, Chris Owusu on the other, who's more the big play receiver. But third down, he looks up Griff Whalen, shows that poise and toughness, and makes a big throw.
This team is perfect in the red zone, and 30 of those 38 scores have been touchdowns. That's even more impressive. 30 touchdowns for Andrew Luck, and now he'll start on the 15, and this play is whistled dead before it starts. We've got our first penalty. Luck on the night is perfect with his 3 passes for 57 yards.
On the offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty.
Here's something you don't see very often. But Brent, you, other than that penalty, you talked about David Shaw and this offense being just kind of clicking on all cylinders, doing what they want to do. 7 plays, 4 runs, 3 passes, 3 for 3 for Luck. Nice mix right now for Pep Hamilton and David Shaw.
Coaches have to be mindful to make sure he gets that signal early so he can pass it on. Gaffney comes in motion. Stanford will empty the backfield for the first time tonight. Looking toward the trips, comes back to the middle with a completion in traffic. Toilolo, one of the 3 tight ends. This is watching what a move he makes coming off the 3 wide to look right back in the middle and guns it.
And that's why when you look at Stanford and you think about, okay, Stanford throws the ball quite a bit. They've given up 2 sacks all year. Now, that's a combination of great line play, but also it's a great job by the quarterback of making his primary read, looking for that next receiver, and then immediately finding the check down. He always is in rhythm when it comes to his progressions.
Now they stack it and hand it off to that lead back, and that's Meinken. So Jeff Meinken with his first carry. He's a junior from Linwood, Washington. Doesn't get too many carries during the game, but they thought they could ambush that front and hand it off to the lead man.
The last third down, SC got pressure, and Luck rolled to his right and eventually found Whalen for the first down. Now that they're down at the 10-yard line, they love the tight ends if they have man-to-man situations because of the mismatch, because of the size of the bigger tight ends against these linebackers and safeties.
And now USC gets a line, but they throw back to the short side. Gaffney breaks the tackle, but I believe he got the first down. Now they're saying touchdown. Now the field judge is saying that he got it to the pylon. That was terrific effort that time by Tyler Gaffney from San Diego.
Brent, I think it's the initial effort that impressed both you and I and everybody else. You thought he might be down there, and that was short of the first down. Tremendous job of getting his hand down to maintain his balance after the initial hit. And then, not only that, he fights to get the ball to the pylon for the touchdown. That's a big-time play by Gaffney.
Now tonight, Eric Whitaker will kick the extra points. He's number 46. Jordan Williams not getting that duty. And it is 7-0. Tyler Gaffney powers in for the first touchdown of the night. So Gaffney has put Stanford ahead 7-0 with his first touchdown reception of the year. He had 5 rushing touchdowns. Stanford will kick it off. Whitaker will handle the kickoff duties too. And there's a man who was a little bit questionable according to the media and all the talk surrounding. But you do not have an injured Robert Woods back to return this kickoff. He'll let it go out of bounds. And so that'll be a penalty. And USC will put the ball in play as we take a look at the TD.
One of the things that Andrew Luck...
Kick out of bounds by the kicking team. Ball be placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
One of the things that Luck did such a great job here at the end of this drive is to get rid of the football quickly. The big tight end at 6'8", 262 pounds, Tololo, goes upfield, takes the defensive end with him. What's interesting is Hayes Pullard is there. He's there to make the play. He didn't wrap up. But because Luck got the ball out of his hands quickly, it gave Gaffney a chance to be able to fight off Pullard and get into the end zone.
So Mark Tyler will start in the backfield. Woods, they move him all over the field. Tyler will get the first carry, and he bangs it out to about the 42-yard line as we take a look at junior quarterback Matt Barkley from Newport Beach, California.
Completing 68% of his passes. The most impressive thing, and the difference in his third year as a starting quarterback to his first couple, and it's obvious with experience, is 19 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. And right away, Mark Tyler on the first play has to check out of the game. He's been battling injuries for the last few weeks.
And Curtis McNeil will immediately replace him. Rhett Ellison is motion through the backfield, and Barkley throws for the first time here tonight, and he is complete, shy of the 50-yard line and the first down marker, and that was hitting Grimble.
The impact players, Matt Barkley, clearly. Robert Woods, and I think Robert Woods has a chance to have a big night. Last year, 12 catches, 224 yards against the Cardinal. Nick Perry on defense, and Dion Bailey. We've already seen Bailey involved in a number of plays trying to slow down Andrew Luck in the Cardinal offensive attack.
3rd down and 1. Deep set with the tailback. Woods is off to the left side. Play action, they're going to throw on 3rd and 1. Firing. And to the 36-yard line with a first down strike by Matt Barkley, hitting Rhett Ellison.
Great call, 3rd and 1. This is trust and confidence in a junior quarterback and 3-year starter. Lets the play develop, and then eventually comes to the backside. Great technique, gets his shoulders turned, and makes a perfect throw to Rhett Ellison for that first down. Gutsy call there on 3rd and 1.
Now Ellison moves in on a wing position. Motions that they can come to his side. Barkley will look back. Fires Woods. And Woods has got it at the incomplete. Watch Woods now as he goes for this ball.
And he has such acceleration. You will not see this happen. And I don't know if he got so excited because he was headed to the end zone, but he just kind of looked that in. He made a great move. It's called a stem, a little move to the outside just to hold the corner there. And the timing between Woods, who hasn't practiced a lot this week, and Barkley was perfect. He's just got to be able to bring the ball in for a touchdown.
Number 9 is another outstanding talent coming to the left side of the formation. Freshman Marquise Lee from Inglewood. Barkley will come back high to Woods that time, and suddenly they're in a 3rd and 10 situation. Terrence Brown with coverage.
One of the questions about tonight's game is to find out how Barkley would have a chance to attack this Cardinal defense when it comes to getting the ball to Robert Woods. Terrence Brown that time, pretty physical in his coverage, but are they going to use a corner up close and bump him, and with a safety behind a lot of times? Will they leave him one-on-one? Big focus tonight by Lane Kiffin and Barkley is get the ball to Robert Woods in space in one-on-one coverage.
Safety coverage. Cheating on Woods on this lineup. He looks in that direction and overthrows. And Stanford had a safety ready, and it well covered by Batamasi.
Well, this is the matchup that Lane Kiffin feels very confident with Woods going against Batamasi because of his size for a corner. A college corner at 6'1", 200 pounds. Out on an island, a lot of times you think you can exploit that, but give the edge that time to Stanford. They held up well in coverage the last 2 or 3 plays on this drive.
So Terrell is back for this punt.
Thank you.
Kyle Negretti hangs it high, and it'll be a fair catch at the 9-yard line. Stanford leads it 7-0. They were impressive with their first drive. Let's see what they do now. Now get ready for a great sunset tonight, Harry. We got a beautiful evening shaping up here as we pull back from the iconic Hollywood sign to the Los Angeles Coliseum. Stephon Taylor back in as the running back. Cardinal march right down the field with their first possession, and Mark Tyler heading to the USC locker room after his first carry of the game. Big hole on the right side to the 16-yard line, and McDonald makes his first stop.
That last drive, 10 plays, 5 runs, and 5 passes. And when Luck did throw the ball, boy, did he show tremendous poise and live up to the hype. Here, stepping into the pocket, making a throw. It's a big third down. He's trying to find his tight end, Fleener. He's not there. Calmly looks to the outside. Fullback's covered, and finally his third target, Griff Whalen, for the first down to be able to keep that drive alive. It was 10 plays, 5 runs, 5 passes, and Andrew Luck was 5 for 5 on that opening drive.
Drops it off on 2nd and 4 to Taylor, and the defense read it perfectly. T.J. McDonald, one of the co-captains.
And Brent, that's the second time in a row you've called his play. Pretty good instincts here. You saw a receiver cross his eyes. He hesitated for a second, but did a good job of reading his keys. He saw the lineman coming out in front of him and ran immediately out to the flat and was able to make that play before it had a chance of developing.
His daddy was a good one here. Later played on some Super Bowl winning teams with the San Francisco 49ers. 3rd and 5. Downfield incomplete. Owusu was the target. And this time, the adjustments and 3 and out.
Lane Kiffin dialing up the blitz, bringing in the linebackers. Lamar Dawson did a good job of getting in there, the true freshman. Tight coverage, ball thrown high by Luck. And that's a big thing that SC wants to do. Try to get Luck into some third and obvious passing situations and come after him.
Nikhil Roby and Robert Woods are back deep for this punt. This will be Woods. Nothing doing, hit immediately at the 40-yard line, and Ty Montgomery. They have lost tailback Mark Tyler. That is Woods, the wide receiver, alongside him, and now motioning, and they're going to quick flare to him. And the best defender on the Stanford team in hot pursuit, Chase Thomas, tracks him down. Curtis McNeil in as the running back, and Barkley fires, and there is the freshman Marquise Lee. And he is finally stopped at the 45-yard line. This is going to leave a 3rd and 5 coming up for the Trojans.
Lane Kiffin and the USC coaching staff really love not just Robert Woods, but Marquise Lee. True freshman, great high school athlete, participated in a lot of sports, and they feel that he's got a chance to continue to get bigger and stronger and faster. He gives you a little shake to the outside. That's what USC wants to do. Get the ball to Lee and Woods and make Stanford try to make plays in space because of their size.
Woods motions. Barkley checks that direction, goes to him on the outside for the first down. A beautifully thrown pass out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Boy, that is outstanding accuracy. You'd love to see this from Matt Barkley. Just able to have Woods in motion. He gets the matchup that he wants. He's got soft coverage, and that's a safety, Michael Thomas, who's a great player on the back end and really the leader with Delano Howell out of this game. But the timing there's really nothing that Thomas could do. Perfectly thrown ball by Matt Barkley.
And the Trojans with an inside run with Curtis McNeil, the redshirt junior from right here in Los Angeles, and he bangs just short of the 40-yard line.
And USC wants to be able to run the football enough tonight to make this 3-4 Stanford defense respect it. You know, last week McNeil had 118 yards against the Notre Dame defense. You know, and I think they are coming into this game with confidence because of they're having a little bit more balance and success in running the ball. Tonight they want to run just enough to make Stanford appreciate it and then get the ball back to the outside.
They come back with power. Second effort may have gotten the first down with McNeil. Let's see where the spot is.
Brent, I know you saw the same thing I saw this week. Matt Khalil and this USC offensive line, I think they got a little tired of hearing about Stanford's offensive line. They said, you know, we got something to prove ourselves. We want to impose our will on this Stanford defense. Forget about the Stanford offensive line. For these last two plays within this series, we've seen that line get a good push there and give McNeil some room to work with.
Movement down in the middle. Holmes is pushed back by the nose man. Stevens was the nose man for the Cardinal.
Offside. On the defense. Number 98 by contact. 5-yard penalty. Name's first down.
Another little thing that sometimes is unnoticed by fans is Barkley can throw. He has an accurate arm, but mixing up your snap count, your cadence can a lot of times help your offensive line out, and you can really try to get that defense even more on their heels because they start to get into a rhythm with the snap count. That time you did a good job of mixing it up, catching them off guard there.
Big man, right side, and he overthrew him. Miscommunication between Woods and Barkley that time. He had his one-on-one coverage.
And that time, Stanford brought the blitz, and our guy Chase Thomas, who tonight, he is the enforcer of the Stanford defense. And Brent, you mentioned that earlier. They move him around quite a bit. That time they brought him on a blitz, and as soon as Barkley got rid of that football, I think he felt 44 closing in on him.
Woods is out, and Kyle Prater, another ballyhooed recruit from Maywood, Illinois, is out to the right on this second down for the Trojans. Quick strike to Prater. Prater moves for a first down. Terrence Brown had coverage, and it looks like he had the forward progress first down.
How quickly the ball gets out of the hands is something that I think Lane Kiffin is most proud of. And here's Prater, who Brent just talked about. The difference from Prater to Woods and Lee is his size for a freshman. It's 6'5", 215 pounds. He gives Barkley a nice target out on the outside.
And that was Prater's first catch of the year. Woods is back. He's out one-on-one to the right on this first down. Barkley fires complete. And that's twice he's gone to the sidelines with nice throws. And that time, Randall Telfer, he's a redshirt freshman. California here, another talented young tight end for the Trojans.
Boy, that is great job of coming off of his receiver. You can see he finally finds the man that he wants, maintains his balance and footwork. Any quarterback out there will always tell you that the accuracy has everything to do with your footwork. And that time, Matt Barkley, good job of coming off his primary and finding Telfer there downfield.
McNeil with Ellison offset. Barkley pump fake, come back right side to the 5-yard line, and that is Telfer again. A beautiful pump fake, and his tight end was right where he thought he'd be.
And he knew that he was eventually going to come back to Telfer. These two quarterbacks are veterans. He's using his eyes and even his shoulder. How many times you see Drew Brees do that in the NFL game? Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, little look to the left, comes back to the right, has to trust that tight end who's a freshman, but comes back without even looking and throws it right to his tight end for a nice big gain. Aggressive play calling there by Lane Kiffin on 1st and 10.
This is 2nd down and 2 from the 5-yard line. Going to throw for it. Incomplete. Woods the target, and Terrence Brown from Torrance, California was on him.
Stanford brought one more than the USC offensive line could handle, and eventually the pressure got to him. Well, this stadium, and I happen to agree with him, that is tight coverage. There isn't any face guarding in college football, but you can't make contact like that. Terrence Brown definitely right in the face as the pressure came that time from the backside.
3rd down. Again, Barkley stays airborne. Incomplete. And again, there was tight coverage in the backfield. That was Carrington working back there on the target. Take a look at this.
I think that one was better coverage. He actually had Rhett Ellison out in the flat. That time he may have locked in a little bit there to Grimble. Rhett Ellison, the fullback, slipped out of the backfield and was standing all alone. If he would have seen him, that would have been a touchdown.
Lane Kiffin may have wanted one of those calls back. Might want to try a running play down there when they had him in second and short. But as it is, 22-yard field goal by Andre Hidari puts the Trojans on the board. Devin Taylor back on the field as the tailback. Look hands to him. Big hole on that right side. And he barges for a first down out to the 28-yard line. Starling finally makes the stop.
Boy, this play opens up, and this is what you want to see if you're Stanford. What a great block by David DeCastro. Watch 52. You see him to the left there. This sustains his block on Gallipo. The linebacker pushes him 7 or 8 yards downfield before Gallipo can get off the block.
So the first quarter comes to an end with Stanford leading 7-3. And this presentation of Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Pac-12 showdown, unbeaten Stanford, once beaten USC. Stanford leads after the first quarter. Andrew Luck hands off to Stephon Taylor, who barges out to the 33 as we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary. And quarterbacks are doing what they can here so far, Herbie.
Yeah, a lot of hype about the matchup, and so far both seem to be settling in. Andrew Luck only missing one pass, and really Matt Barkley, I thought that last drive, if he ends up getting the interference call, SC has a chance to put 7 on the board and tie this game up. But the most impressive thing about both of them, both playing with poise and providing that leadership, and the game and the moment isn't too big for either guy.
Staying on the ground with that power running game, and appears to be still a little bit short of a first down. They run it out to the 37-yard line.
How unique and how different for you and I as we travel the country and watch spread offense after spread offense to watch two traditional offenses tonight and watch these offensive lines on both sides go to work with great execution and just trying to challenge the defensive front 7.
Speaking of offensive lines, here comes Jumbo. Additional offensive linemen on this 3rd and 1. Fullback did not get it. TJ McDonald jumped in there on the top of it and had help down below. Ryan Hewitt got a quick handoff from Andrew. And they'll have to measure this, I'm sure.
What a line judge there. What a spot. Because I'm with you, Brett.
I thought TJ had him earlier.
I thought he hit him high, and there was a great surge by the defensive line. They won the battle up front. Boy, he looks like he gets buckled. This is a great look at it right here. 3rd and short. Maybe right at the line. They gave him a favorable spot there. Give him the first down.
It was close. First down for Stanford. Ball at the 38-yard line. And here comes Wilkerson getting the edge. And he is out of bounds at the 42-yard line. There's a penalty flag back by the line of scrimmage, and the two teams are walking back.
Well, they threw it right at Ryan Hewitt, the fullback, tight end, kind of a hybrid guy.
Number 85 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
You know, USC, Brent, is pinching everything down. See, the adjustment is to get it to the outside, and there's Hewitt right there locked up with Dion Bailey. But a good call to try to bounce it to the outside. He actually had the angle and the leverage that he wanted on the block. He just hooked his arm into 18 that time, which opened up a big seam to the outside there for the running back.
Yeah, when you pull him down like that,
you're done. He didn't even need to do it. He just could have just walled him with his body.
So it becomes a 1st and 20 for Luck. Fires over the middle, incomplete. That would have been close to a first down.
That matchup just had one of those feelings. Georgia Tech couldn't have looked any worse the last 2 weeks. See if they compete for 4 quarters against the Tigers.
Stephen Taylor back on the field for the Cardinal. Andrew inside shuttle pass. Broken play. Hit a safety valve with it. And that's going to bring up 3rd and long.
I'll tell you right now, the USC front 4 asserting themselves and getting some penetration. Luck, of course, has that shovel pass here. Presence of mind to just try to do something with it instead of giving up on a play. Pretty good effort as well by Taylor to be able to secure the ball. But this is what SC wanted. Get him in a 3rd down and then get creative with Monty Kiffin's scheme.
See what Luck can do with a 3rd and 15. Jeremy Stewart, running back from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, checks in for the Cardinal. Luck, an excellent runner. Not good enough for a 1st down. Stanford will punt. Ball at the 42-yard line.
They are really getting some pressure right now on Luck and forcing him to step up into the pocket. He is athletic, but on 3rd and long, he does a good job of just eating this and getting as many yards as he can. Always worry about any quarterback's legs, especially Andrew Luck, and he had a few words there that time for Shane Horton as he hit him pretty hard at the top after he already had slid to the ground.
Nickel Roby, one of the 2 back on this punt, but they want the ball in Wood's hands. And he'll make the catch at the 9-yard line to return left as he got a lane. Out to the 30-yard line where USC will put it in play. So after giving Andrew Luck a touchdown on his first drive, they have stopped the Cardinals since then. They still trail it by 4. Welcome you back to the Los Angeles Coliseum. Stanford leading USC. 10:59 remaining here in the first half. Here's Barkley off a play action. Got Woods coming underneath. A very creative formation to get the ball Herbie back in number 2's hands.
He's lined up, motions back into the backfield, and again, Lane Kiffin is about as creative as you can find in the country in trying to find matchups to his advantage. You can see the Stanford defense very aware, but it's one thing to be aware, it's another thing to be able to stay with Woods in the open field, and that's the challenge for this Cardinal defense. But Lane Kiffin tonight is going to find a number of ways to move Robert Woods around within this offense to try to find the matchup to his advantage.
McNeil for a loss, and that was Ben Gardner in on him, the junior from Wisconsin.
Gardner does a good job, but Terrence Stevens, the nose guard, really disrupted that play. Ate up the center, Khalid Holmes. And this Stanford defense playing in a 3-4. Their defensive linemen, a lot of times, it's not one of those glory positions. You try to eat up blocks and free those linebackers up to allow them to make plays.
5 receivers. Intercepted. Picked off at the 40-yard line by Tarpley. A.J. Tarpley, a sophomore from Plymouth, Minnesota, makes the interception at the 41-yard line.
Boy, what a great job of reading the eyes of Matt Barkley, the athletic ability. That's almost like you're in the backyard and you're sitting on the back shoulder of the receiver saying, no, he's open, he's open, he's open, throw it. And he steps in front of him. Perfectly timed and played by a young linebacker to step in front of the tight end. It's one of the few times we've seen Barkley actually lock into his read and take a chance and try to slide it in there. That time Tarpley would not allow him to do it.
Taylor is back as the running back. Play action. Luck rolls. drops it off underneath to Ryan Hewitt, slipping out of the backfield, and he was wide open as he crosses the 30-yard line to the 27 for another first down.
And this is the answer. Look at all the jerseys, the defensive jerseys up close to the line of scrimmage. So a misdirection boot where Luck has a chance, if you cover his receivers, to run the ball back to the boundary, but Hewitt's wide open, so he just gets the ball out of his hands quickly. But a great call because of the way SC's defended 1st and 10 the last 2 series. Great call on play action.
Gaffney, the running back. Gaffney to the 21-yard line. He scored the game's only touchdown on a pass from Luck on their opening drive of the game. But the Cardinal threatening here again. 2 yards away from the red zone, where Luck and the Cardinal have been absolutely lethal this year. Come back with Gaffney. And Gaffney busts it. Breaking tackles all night long to the 10-yard line. It will be first down for the Cardinal.
He keeps his legs churning here, and this is the one thing that you love to see by a stable of backs. Sure, Taylor gets most of the carries, but Gaffney comes in, and he shows that he's got the power as well. And that fires up the defense. Tarpley with the big interception, got the eye black on. That'll fire up the rest of the team, make David Shaw proud, but now you got to punch it into the end zone.
Ball was spotted at the 11-yard line. Pick up 1 yard on first down.
And Brent, this week, David Shaw telling us the importance of in-game adjustments against Monty Kiffin. What an important thing, kind of a chess match. He knows what Monty Kiffin's going to do. Monty Kiffin knows what David Shaw is going to do. It's a matter of making the adjustments and who has the upper hand at the right time. Play action, always very successful for this Stanford offense down in this area.
There is Monty Kiffin, who was up to the left with the ball cap on. Football coach for 45 years. Father of Lane Kiffin, the head coach. Second down, and Luck back in the gun. Before the snap.
Delay a game, I think, again.
Delay a game on the offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty. Main second down.
It's the second time, and I don't know if he's having a problem seeing that play clock up in the top left-hand corner. At the time, he was making some adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Something that he's going to have to be aware of. You can see him reading the plays here off of the big center there.
Second down and 14. Stewart and Gaffney alongside the quarterback. Takes off, fires on the run to the corner of the end zone, incomplete. Fleener was breaking free toward the back of the end zone, and as Luck was in trouble, spotted him at the end and tried to thread the pass.
And I think maintaining your vision as you're running for your life is the challenge. The ball skips. Pretty good effort that time, though, by Fleener.
Monty Kiffin told us that the one thing Andrew Luck does is very unusual: move to the left and throw accurately. He said in the NFL when he was a defensive coordinator at Tampa, he didn't see many quarterbacks who could move hard to the left and still throw accurately.
Absolutely, and then adjust how you pressure him and where you come from with your blitzes.
3rd and 14. In trouble, fires. Incomplete, and that would have been up for grabs. And Wiley, the cornerback, had a shot at it in the end zone.
Well, again, this front four is starting to really play football when they get him to 3rd down. They're not bringing pressure. It's just 4 guys. There's a stunt, a little twist up there to move Perry back to the inside, but they're just doing a good job of using the athletic ability, maintaining and putting 7 back in coverage, and Luck has nowhere to go with the football. Lucky that time it wasn't intercepted by Wiley.
Whitaker on for the 33-yard field goal. Pulled it, and it's going to be good. You look down on our scene, and in the background over the top of the Coliseum, you can see downtown Los Angeles and a lot of revitalization going on down there. Apartment buildings, hotels being upgraded. Even talk about someday perhaps putting an NFL stadium down there hard by downtown. You wouldn't recognize it if you haven't been around for a couple of decades. Trust me on that one. So, Whitaker, and it'll be fielded by Woods on the juggle. Fumble! And USC recovers it. They have got it. Herbie, let's go back to third down.
Yeah, if you look at this pre-snap read for Andrew Luck, one of the plays he loves is to try to get the tight end against cover 2 down the middle. Interesting thing with Monty Kiffin is Gallipo is the middle linebacker, and with cover 2, this safety will drop, this safety will drop. Gallipo will sink into coverage. So as Luck drops back, even with all his experience, he looks at that tight end, there's nobody there. By the time he comes off of it and he looks out to Griff Whalen, they've got a safety sitting out there waiting for Griff Whalen. There's nowhere to go with the football, and a great call that time by Kiffin on third down.
So Curtis McNeil on the field as the running back and firing that slip screen over there to the freshman Marquise Lee. And the coach is telling us, Herbie, that Marquise Lee in a straight foot race could probably outrun Robert Woods. Nothing definite, but they say this youngster's got a world of raw talent.
Well, just a tremendous athlete, and to be able to play as a true freshman in Lane Kiffin's offense and understand the route adjustment says a lot about him, his intelligence for this game, and a feel for college football. With he on one side and Robert Woods on the other, it's a great 1-2 punch.
First down, Barkley throws it up one-on-one. He has Lee again going for it. Pretty much put a jump ball up there. Didn't think it could be picked off by Thomas. And he wanted Lee to make a side adjustment on it and go for it.
You know, Matt Barkley, let's see how he rebounds from the interception that he threw to Tarpley. We've had Matt in some big games in the past. And one thing about Matt Barkley is in the bigger games and the more high-profile games, when he hits some adversity, it seemed to make him panic and press a little bit. Here he's hit a little adversity on a big stage. Let's see how he adjusts.
Fake the toss play and roll to the right. Uses the safety valve. Ellison underneath, short of the first down. And he is down at the 32-yard line.
And I think this is the area that Matt Barkley has probably gained the most confidence, is getting outside of the pocket and throwing on the run. A little boot action, gets to the outside, and now he's just got to bait the defender, bring the defender towards him, take the big hit, and then deliver the ball. He's just kind of waiting for him to commit, and then once he gets the defender, Masafilo, to commit, then he can give the ball to Ellison, and now you've got a third and manageable here at 3rd and 2.
McNeil would be the tailback. Woods in motion. And off the play action, fire back underneath. Good read by Barkley. Primary target was taken away, came back as Robert Woods worked his way to the middle of the field, and that is a first down, Trojans.
All of the defense was expecting USC to go to the outside. He wants to throw the ball to the outside, to the fullback, maybe to the tight end. See how quickly he had to come off of that? Because I think initially that's where he did want to go with the football on third down, off to his left. But most of the Stanford defense moved to that area, so he had to wait for Woods to break back to the middle. He showed great patience.
First down from the Trojan 40-yard line. There was movement, it appeared. This time he does go left side. Woods reaches up and can't, and there's going to be interference called. Browning a little bit too tight that time, and there was a second flag thrown. I thought I saw movement back in the line of scrimmage.
I think there's Stanford offsides along with pass interference, it looked like.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. Offsides, number 44. That penalty is declined. Pass interference. Number 31 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
This is where USC has to win. They've got to win one-on-one matchups against these defensive backs. This is the weakness of the Stanford defense. the secondary play, especially with Delano Howe out of the game. They've got to be able to get those one-on-one matchups and win them. That time they got the pass interference call. They've been trying to get the ball thrown vertically to Woods, and they haven't quite hit one, but they're going to keep going back after that Stanford secondary.
And with the 15 yards, the ball is moved to the Stanford 45-yard line. Stanford leads it by a touchdown. McNeil struggling to get free, picked up a couple of yards to the 43-yard line. Lancaster hanging on.
Think about what Stanford's trying to do defensively. They don't have a lot of depth. You and I love Shane Skove, who is out for the year. Just a great linebacker for this defense and one of the emotional leaders. Delano Howe also out. They don't have a lot of depth at safety because of his injury. So you lose two great leaders off of this defense.
Lee motions this time. Looks in Woods' direction. Dropped. Had him at the 35-yard line, and Terrence Brown with coverage.
And Terrence Brown took a chance. He actually lined up to the inside. He knows that the quick slant is a favorite play. He reads it perfectly. He jumped it so quickly that I think he not only impacted his own chance of making a catch, but I think he surprised Robert Woods, and he lost his focus on the football and went through his hands again.
Down the right sideline, too high, incomplete. So here comes the punting team onto the field for the Trojans.
You know, Brent, all week long we heard about Robert Woods. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Well, he didn't practice today, and all of that talk. You wonder how much did he really practice, number one, and if he wasn't out there, because he looks healthy tonight, how much has it maybe impacted the rhythm and timing between Barkley and Robert Woods? They're not quite in sync tonight.
That's a good point. Nick Reddy, the jumbo blockers that everybody favors. Fair catch at the 11-yard line. All right, Herbie. Tonight's Affleck. Are you ready?
Here we go.
Who is Stanford's? Come on, Doc. Finish it for me. Stanford's leader in career pass yards. Stenstrom, Elway, Plunkett.
Trick question. Trick question.
We'll come right back with the answer. Herbie thinks I'm cheating. All right, Herbie. We've cued the duck. Who is Stanford's leader in career pass yards? Stenstrom, Elway, Plunkett, or Luck?
A. Stenstrom.
There you are.
Ha-ha.
10,531 yards. Steve Stenstrom. Here are the career passing leaders. John Elway in second, and Andrew Luck right now with 7,894 yards and looking for more. Good one, Mr. Herbstreit.
You'd think Elway, right?
Yes. Right straight ahead with Stephon Taylor back on the field. Yeah, John Elway was a great athlete at Stanford, along with being a football player. Of course, he was a terrific baseball player, but you take a look at him and you watch him in motion. Look at him making something out of nothing.
Brent, I went.
So here's your bonus question.
Okay.
What was his last college football game at Stanford? It's a famous game.
Okay, yeah.
Got it.
The band is on the field.
That's right. That was John Elway's. People forget that. Yeah. He was the quarterback for Stanford that day. He has never forgiven the trombone player for not moving out and making a tackle at the 5-yard line. Second down now for Luck, and there's a few more yards. Toilolo, one of the tight ends, makes that stop. And a reminder that coming up on the Capital One halftime report, Robert Flores and Jesse Palmer will have all the day's big highlights.
You know, speaking of John Elway, I saw him when I was about 10 years old in Ohio Stadium scramble around and make some plays to beat the Buckeyes late in a typical John Elway scramble late, throw it into the end zone. Never forget that. He was an athlete.
Yes, he was. 3rd and 2. So it'll be 4th down again. The Trojan defense Playing very well since that first drive.
And they're mixing up their looks. Remember we talked about they're getting pressure with just 4. How about this time on 3rd down? Look at all the traffic he tries to throw into here to try to come up with this 1st down. They're able to knock it away and give Monty Kiffin a lot of credit there in the hat. The adjustments, the way they've mixed up their looks, they're getting him to 3rd and obvious situations and then mixing the looks up and giving that offensive line fits.
Now Robert Woods back deep again on this punt. Trojans will be looking for some field position with a good 2.5 minutes at short and Roby. But you'll see him quarterback the Chiefs, and quietly the Chiefs have gotten red hot. Barkley would like to get red hot. Here's Woods. He drops it off to him, and he's across midfield. We check in with Aaron Andrews.
And Matt Barkley and Robert Woods, Brent, trying to be in sync, trying to get in sync. They spent a good amount of time over on the sidelines talking and trying to figure things out and what's going wrong and who's going where and are you getting the call. You could tell from their body language, Brent, and also their faces. What? Where were you going? Not good. So they're trying to correct that right now.
2nd down and 5, and Barkley to the freshman Lee, who breaks the tackle before he is out of bounds at the 35-yard line.
And one thing about having a veteran quarterback is you can work through those miscommunication problems, because so far when Barkley has been blitzed tonight, he's only 2 of 10. And when he's looked to get the ball over to Robert Woods, he's now 1 for 7 when blitzed and trying to get the ball to Woods. That time he finds his freshman Lee for the big 1st down.
Barkley going downfield, got him open first. Lee diving, incomplete. Marquise Lee broke open with that speed we've told you about, and he just couldn't quite hang on.
Well, this is a great job of using his eyes. He brings the young safety Carrington up. He has the one-on-one matchup. They're going to keep going after Batamasi, the bigger corner. He's one-on-one all by himself against a fleet-footed freshman. Little bit more air under that, and Lee easily walks underneath it and scores a touchdown.
3 wide on this 2nd and 10. And now timeout.
USC.
So
That's
USC
their first charge timeout of the half.
has called their first.
This will be a 30-second charge timeout.
Charge timeout as we remind you that our aerial coverage has been provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. It is very interesting when you talk about a quarterback matchup, you sometimes forget the defensive coordinators are getting paid too. And I dare say both of them are doing outstanding jobs here against these 2 quarterbacks tonight.
I agree with you. I mean, Stanford opened up the game the first drive, much like our Wisconsin game last week against Michigan State. They went right down the field, 10 plays, put 7 points on the board. Andrew Luck was 5 for 5. But, boy, Monty Kiffin's made some adjustments. And also, let's give credit to that front 4 from USC's. We wondered how they would match up physically to what Stanford wants to do when they run the ball. But so far, Stanford only 70 rushing yards in this first half. So Monty Kiffin doing a good job as well as Stanford.
Toss play fumble, ball on the ground. Picked up by McNeil, big loss. Storming in Chase Thomas to make sure he can't get up and gain anymore. That is back at the 43-yard line.
Well, with the clock moving and starting to move into field goal range at the very least, exactly what USC could not afford. Now it sets them way back on this 3rd down and 17. McNeil just dropped the football. It was right in his hands.
Derek Mason and Jason Tarver are the defensive coordinators for USC. Barkley comes back to the middle, short of the 30-yard line, and that is Xavier Grimble, a redshirt freshman from Las Vegas, making the catch in the middle of the field, and it'll be 4th and 8.
Interesting. And they're looking at this and looking at the clock and working the clock here a little bit before they maybe eventually get their timeout.
Is trying to shrink it so that Luck doesn't get a lot of time. This is a 4th down.
And Lane Kiffin deferring the opening coin toss tonight. They get the football back to start the second half.
Now he'll call the timeout. had the official over alongside of him and told him exactly when he was going to use it. So here's your 4th down now, and they are going to go for that long 50-yarder. Barkley is the holder, remember. Hidari is on to kick this. He has kicked a 47-yarder. This one bangs it. Good. A 50-yard field goal for Andre Hidari, a freshman from Bakersfield, California.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk this week that he had this ankle injury last week in defending Notre Dame on that big kickoff return for the Fighting Irish. He's been on crutches. Questions on whether or not he'd be able to go. Lane Kiffin kidding this week about, we're talking to the student body about tryouts, but Hidari comes out here and does a good job of stepping up and get some points. Again, they get the ball to start the second half.
Lane did get a waiver to sign a soccer player. We walked past him as he was coming out of the practice, okay?
Right.
He got to be at least 5'5". He had to be.
Oh, yeah.
I asked him if he could kick some long ones. You bet.
Quick answer. I hadn't had to worry about that just quite yet, but I'll tell you, the way the SC defense is playing, 3 points like that sets up for an interesting second half.
Ty Montgomery is now on as one of the return men along with Stewart. So a 50-yard field goal. Pulls them to within 4, and now they kick it along the ground, eating up as much time as they can. And Andrew Luck, Herbie, only with 9 seconds left here. They come right out with the halftime formation, content to go in. Up by 4. They'll be playing defense, as you pointed out. Lane Kiffin and USC will get the ball to start the second half. Welcome back to Saturday Night Football. We get ready for the second half with Stanford leading USC 10-6, and we take a look at tonight's Southwest Airlines playbook. Stanford's first drive of the night, Herbie. They go and score the game's only touchdown.
Yeah, 10 plays, 5 runs, and 5 passes. Gaffney gets into the end zone, and it looked like, boy, Stanford's offense was in rhythm. Saw an interception, a rare mistake by either quarterback, turning the football over, and it put USC in a position to at least get points on the board. And, you know, you and I came into this game expecting a shootout, and these quarterbacks putting up huge numbers. And got to give credit, at least for the first 30 minutes, to the defensive staffs.
Now, let's not forget that Stanford holds the nation's longest winning streak at 15, and that is in jeopardy here as we head into the second half.
First of all, if you're Stanford's offense and Andrew Luck, they've got to be able to get back to establishing the running game and then eventually take your shots downfield when they're there. And if you're USC, they've had some one-on-one matchups on the outside. Eventually, they're going to hope that Barkley's able to find his receivers, Lee and Woods, to make those Stanford defensive backs pay for that one-on-one coverage.
Robert Woods coming out from the end zone. And down at about the 21-yard line, out of bounds. We check in down below with Aaron Andrews.
Hey, Brent, thanks. And talking to Lane Kiffin coming off the field, he said, yes, we are completely out of sync on offense. I asked him if that's because Woods missed some time in practice. He said he believes so, but they look to make the adjustment. Also just spoke with Stanford's David Shaw and talked to him about the pressure that they're getting on his quarterback. And he said, for us, we just have to do a better job, like Kirk said, running that ball normal down and distance he is looking for here in the second half, guys.
All right, and McNeil continues as the running back for the Trojans. Mark Tyler injured on his first carry of the game. Robert Woods on that slip screen to the outside with Ellison out in front of him.
You're talking about with Woods and Lee, two of the more explosive receivers in the Pac-12. And right now it's a matter of Matt Barkley and that offensive line working together. If Barkley can get just a little bit more time, and sometimes it's just a split second, give the quarterback some time and let him evaluate the defense. And he talks it over with Lane Kiffin. Of course, they had time at halftime to see if they can try to exploit the secondary of Stanford. And Badamasi, the corner to the left side of the offense, is out of the game right now.
Back deep, and Barkley fires to the 38-yard line and caught by Robert Woods under heavy pressure. Makes the grab for the first down.
And Trent Murphy just about got to Matt Barkley. Again, it's some pressure coming to the offense's left side. How about Murphy going up against an All-American there, and Matt Khalil gets around him eventually. But Barkley does a good job of hanging in there with Woods, and one of the rare connections downfield that we've seen. Woods does a good job of using his body to keep Thomas away from the ball.
So it'll be first down and 10 from the 39-yard line for Barkley. Here's McNeil. Big hole on the left side. Foot race. McNeil breaks to daylight. 10-5. Touchdown. Curtis McNeil, the junior from Los Angeles, who exploded last week for 118 yards in South Bend, now takes it 61 yards for the score.
Well, what a great job of blocking here. The left tackle, Khalil, who we just talked about, is a good job. Now watch Robert Woods right there with a block on Carrington downfield. And the speed by McNeil, I think, may have caught Stanford off guard a little bit. Barry Browning, the corner, taking a poor angle, but outstanding blocking and good movement and speed in the open field by USC. You knew it was a matter of time till the Trojans would eventually have a chance to strike for a big one.
Hadari adds the extra point, and this is news. For the first time this season, Stanford trails in a football game. Remember, they've won 10 straight games by 25 or more points. They're in a dogfight. You are watching a football game with a lot of NFL scouts. We have 5 potential first-round draft choices in this game. We've talked about the 2 quarterbacks, but Herbie's going to show you after this kickoff what Khalil means to the USC offense. And the other 2 are offensive linemen for Stanford. There is big number 75. Coaches said he did not play particularly well in South Bend. They expected a better performance tonight, and they are getting it. Here's Montgomery coming out now for Stanford. Out to the 27, and Herbie, take us through that touchdown.
Yeah, we just showed the play before where Khalil had a little bit of pressure from Trent Murphy. This time, Thomas is going to come from the outside, and watch how physical Khalil is as he creates a seal block here. There's Thomas, the All-American outside linebacker. Now watch Robert Woods downfield right there. Some great blocks, but it started with the All-American left tackle, Matt Khalil.
So McNeil's career long of 61 yards puts the Trojans ahead by 3. Stephon Taylor darts through, and if you don't think USC knew it was the first team to take a lead on Stanford, look at that sideline.
This program has been waiting for a game like this because of everything that they've been under, and Andrew Luck trying to rally the troops and try to have a little bit of a light moment before the offense goes out there. He understands what's at stake here at this point in the game.
Chess match, Lane Kiffin versus Andrew Luck. Luck calls his own plays. swing to the flat. And a sharp tackle on Anthony Wilkerson, who could not break free from Roby. Now here is a young man who's a fabulous story. 5'8", a sophomore out of the state of Florida. Originally recruited by the Kiffins to go to Tennessee. Wound up following the coach to Southern California.
That's an amazing story, Brent. And what an effort that time by Roby to get off of the potential block by Hewitt. Not only does he avoid the block, but he has the presence of mind and quickness to get upfield and make the tackle.
Stewart into that backfield. Here's 3rd and 5. Let's see what Kiffin dials up. Pressure, got him, sacked Luck. Fumble, ball comes loose. Trojans say they've got it. Stanford football.
Brent, only the 3rd sack that they've allowed all year. And there wasn't a blitz. They had a stunt up front. This front four has been playing a great football game for USC. They showed pressure, they got out of it, and that is just simply using speed by Wes Horton, getting around the right tackle, Cameron Fleming.
Now, in talking to Coach Monty Kiffin, he said, yeah, I'd like big guys who are fast, like LSU, but if I've got my choice and I can only have one, I'll take speed. And he said this year's USC defense is speed-based. And Herbie, you've been talking about it as they get to the quarterback with some of that juice right there.
Yeah, Wes Horton got around the corner, the junior. And I'll tell you, Brent, I think that's the biggest difference. You see him fighting for that football. The biggest difference is what Monty Kiffin, this 2nd year in his system. Keep an eye on Jonathan Martin, the All-American left tackle. He's a great player. But Monty Kiffin said in his 2nd year now in this system, the players know what he expects from them. They've been able to make some adjustments. They are not hesitating as much as they did a year ago. They're playing faster, and I really believe the way they played the last 2 weeks against Cal and especially Notre Dame last week in South Bend has given this team a spark and confidence coming into this game, and it's showing so far.
David Green will punt it, and Robert Woods is back. And the short return man, of course, is Nickel Roby, that story. The young man who came from the South, even after the tragic death of his mother, decided to stay right here and play for USC. Off the side of the foot, bad punt, great field position for Barkley and the Trojans. At the 40-yard line, Matt will have a short field when you come back. 1st down and 10 now for Barkley and the Trojans. And the running play start to get back to power, and of course that's McNeil. So our Pacific Life game summary will show you how the 2 quarterbacks compare, and suddenly Mr. Barkley is moving the team here in the 2nd half, Herbie.
Yeah, we came into this game expecting huge numbers and maybe a shootout between these 2 quarterbacks, and these 2 defenses heard about it all week, and they showed up motivated and prepared and playing great football.
McNeil, and McNeil close to that 1st down. If he gets the spot, he's right at the 30-yard line. Lancaster.
Brandon, just a great battle right now where USC is starting to assert themselves and impose their will on the Stanford front here these last 2 series. The right side that time does a good job. John Martinez and Kevin Kraft. Also Khalid Holmes, the center, getting a push, sustaining those blocks, and giving these running backs a little bit of room to work with.
There were some great signs on game day today. One of them, which my favorite, was Stanford has luck. So did the Irish. I thought that was a real good one. 1st down and 10 at the Stanford 30-yard line. Woods motions to the left. Barkley on a pump fake. Going to go deep to the end zone. Double covers on the freshman. That was Lee, Marquise Lee, and Stanford had double on him.
He had a free play there, and might as well take a shot, put it up in the air, and see if your receiver can adjust and get a touchdown. I think he sensed that he had offsides that time by Stanford.
Offsides on the defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
That will move the ball to the Stanford 25-yard line.
Batamasi, the right corner to the offense's left, is back on the field, and USC has been really attacking him when he's been isolated out there one-on-one against the USC fleet-footed receivers.
Long handoff. McNeil breaks for the end zone again. 2 touchdowns for Curtis McNeil. He backs up his 61-yarder. He's now hit 100 yards on the night and 2 touchdowns. So on a night in which the Trojans lose their starting running back on the first play of the game, number 22 steps up big. And another undefeated team is in trouble today. 10.5 remaining here in the third. USC leads it by 10. Owusu from the 2-yard line. Alley. And covered up at the 25-yard line.
We'll go back to this touchdown, and when McNeil was able to score, Brandon Carswell goes in motion right here, comes in, and Batamasi comes with him. So you eliminate the corner, and then you just have a block by Khalil, a block by the tight end, and it opens up. But watch as Carswell comes to the inside. Batamasi follows. Tackle makes a nice block. Locks up there. The linebacker, I think, felt that he was holding Jacob Lancaster. But the tight end and left tackle make the blocks, and it opens things up there for McNeil.
Jonathan Martin back at left tackle. And if you're wondering, when is Luck going to put it up? Still not yet, as Wilkerson is in as a running back and forced out of bounds, and it continues to be a conservative attack. 2nd down and 8. Now Luck goes downfield this time for a first down, and Whalen at the 40-yard line, and that time he was able to get a wide receiver open.
Now that time T.J. McDonald, the safety, walked up from here to here. Now you have a safety in the middle of the field and a corner who's going to drop. It gives you a seam right there. Of course, Luck's able to see it. McDonald up tight. Look at that huge seam between the corner and the safety. Puts the ball up in the air, and a good adjustment that time by Whalen to make the catch.
Zach Ertz was
on the offense. 12 players in the huddle at the same time.
So they had 12 in the huddle.
Mains first down.
Uncharacteristic here by Stanford and David Shaw. This is where you really want to test the fortitude in the middle of a football team. You're on the road, you're down 10, everybody has high expectations for you. You got to face this adversity and fight through it.
Power formation. Taylor trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and Camp. This is going to be 2nd down and long. Let's check it down below with Aaron.
Brent, you guys are talking about the Stanford team being tested for the first time, and Andrew Luck, before he took the field, was yelling at his offensive line, this is what we need. This is what we need to overcome to see if we can move forward. So let's see how they handle it.
Oh, Aaron, they have dominated every team they have played in the second half, outscoring them 188-33. And tonight they're down 14-0 just in the second half alone.
Playing by far their most talented opponent of the season. 2nd down.
Well, that defensive end looks offsides.
Luck steps away, now fires high, incomplete. So that was Wiley, Isaiah Wiley, at the coverage over here on Owusu.
I think Nick Perry may have gotten away with lining up offsides, his helmet and his hand right close to the line. But once again, it's Andrew Luck not being able to just sit in the pocket. He's got to step up, avoid the pressure. That front four trying to get the ball to Owusu, who's not been able to be involved at all tonight in this Stanford offensive attack.
3rd down, Stanford only 3 of 8. Grabbed And now it is 4 of 9. Wayland, he goes back to him, and that's his second catch on this drive. It keeps it alive. A huge play for 17 yards.
And this time the offensive line does a good job of giving him time. They keep the running back Jeremy Stewart in, and there again is a receiver using his hands to be able to make a catch, and a pivotal one there on 3rd down and long.
Nice pattern run that time. Owosu wide open. It's to the 35-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd and short.
Stanford trying to show patience. One of the few first down throws we've seen here from them in a while. Trying to get back to having more of a balanced attack. Still plenty of time in this game, assuming they can come up with points on this drive. I think just for their confidence, they need to come up with points on this drive the way this game has gotten away from them a bit.
Straight ahead. Stephan Taylor back at that running back spot. Schwartenstein, DeCastro, Yankee in the middle of that offensive line. So Stewart had replaced Stephan, so let me correct myself. That wasn't Taylor, but that was Stewart that time for that first down. Now Taylor comes back in.
You have 10 straight wins of 25 points or more. It'll be interesting to see how this team does bounce back as we continue to talk about that here in the second half.
Coach is trying to blitz. Fires complete against it, and a cut by Wayland. Wayland to the 5-yard line. The ball will be spotted there, 1st and goal, and the blitz unable to get to Luck.
Brent, did you see how he used his cadence to get USC to tip their hand where the blitz was coming from? Uses the cadence, he shows the lineman where it's coming from. The 2 backs stay in to help out, both Taylor and Hewitt. The line, the backs, everybody does their job, and they finally give Luck time to throw the ball.
Take to Taylor, wide open, touchdown. They walk in. They hit Hewitt. Ryan Hewitt, the fullback H-back from Denver, Colorado, and a very impressive drive, as Andrew Luck has showed you why the pros are so high on this young man. What a drive.
And that's how you have to answer as a football team, and Andrew Luck, a big part of that. Aaron just talking about how he's challenging his offensive line, giving them a bit of a wake-up call. They showed great poise there, down by a couple scores, to be able to get back and be in position here to get back in this game.
Eric Whitaker tacks on the extra point.
So they really did a good job in the 9 plays there of mixing in the run with the pass, and Hewitt is right here. We're just going to slide him out. Watch the USC defense. They're thinking 1st and 10, a little bit of a play action. Nobody picks up Hewitt. He's able to slide to the outside, out into the flat, and there's not a defender out there. Pretty easy read, but I think it was a sequence of plays that opened up that play call there on 1st and 10.
One of the more amazing stats out of this game is the fact that USC has gone without a penalty for the entire game. Stanford has 6 penalties so far, or make that 7 for 50. And a reminder here tonight that our aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
Just never know on a given college football Saturday what you might get.
That is the truth.
BCS standings, everybody kind of jumps to conclusions about what might be happening a few weeks from now, and then got teams like Stanford and Clemson in really tough matchups.
On the ground, Woods wants it to go out of bounds, and it does. Good recognition by the wide receiver. Ball come up on the 40. First down and 10, and here comes McNeil, and McNeil has been spectacular here in the second half. Now the question is, can the Stanford defense come up with a stop? Play action, penalty flag is thrown, and for a loss back to the 45 is Telford, the tight end, but there's a penalty flag thrown by the line judge. our referee here tonight, Michael Batlin from the Pac-12.
Lane Kiffin has really decided to run the football with a lot of success with McNeil here in this second half.
Illegal shift, 2 men in motion on the offside, on the offense. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
He's rushed Herbie for 108 yards and 61 on that one touchdown run when he got the edge.
118 yards last week against Notre Dame, and the coach is telling us that you have Matt Khalil, left tackle, who's an All-American, but the other 4 positions, these guys are all starting for the first time this year at their position, and I think they've been slow to come around to build some continuity, and a game like last week can do a lot for their confidence.
Woods comes in motion on the 3rd and 5. Barkley's going to be short. Looked like he took off like he read something, but Gardner closed that hole immediately.
Well, I think he felt that the linebackers had cleared out and that he had enough room there to be able to pick up a first down. But, boy, Gardner really closed down in a hurry. And Stanford's defense, which you just asked about, does their job with the assist of that illegal shift, the first penalty by SC tonight.
So back now is Drew Terrell from Chandler, Arizona. You can see they spread the field and they send everybody down except the Bull blockers. Pretty much what we're seeing in college football now. And a fair catch. Andrew Luck back under center. Stephon Taylor for a first down. An 11-yard run to the 25-yard line.
Kind of sticking to their guns. Showing that patience. You know, going back to the beginning of this year with David Shaw taking over as the head coach and Pep Hamilton taking over as the offensive coordinator, the one question I think a lot of America wanted to know about, would David Shaw and his coaching style, would this team be able to maintain their edge, that aggressiveness that Jim Harbaugh started to become so familiar and so popular with?
Luck is now out to the outside. This is the second time that they've set a wildcat. They're going to give it to him and let him throw it. Going to go deep down the middle. Going to go for a scoring strike. Tackled at the 15-yard line. Ty Montgomery, the freshman from Dallas.
And as soon as you see Andrew Luck out here to the outside, it's got to alert you as a defense. Here's the receiver that ends up getting behind coverage. But when you see Andrew Luck out there, you've got to know something's up, especially when he starts to go back to the ball, that they're going to pitch it back to him. Tremendous job of getting it to him downfield, and Montgomery makes only his 3rd catch of the year.
62 yards. The ball is spotted at the 14-yard line. Come back with Gaffney, who is a tough runner, and he crosses the 10-yard line, where it will be 2nd down coming up.
And without truly having difference makers at wide receivers, their best receivers, Owusu's a nice player, but their tight ends have been the big play receivers for him this year. And when you don't have that speed like a Robert Woods or Marquise Lee, you've got to come up with a few wrinkles like that to get some receivers downfield behind coverage.
Luck empties the backfield. Gaffney down to the 7-yard line before he is brought down. Basically, he had man-to-man across the board.
When you empty the backfield like that, quarterback's got to get the football out of his hands quickly, and you said it. That was man-to-man across, and he's got to find the one-on-one matchup that he wanted. He tried to get it out to his running back, Gaffney. Needed a little bit more help there with a block to be able to spring loose into the end zone.
Kobe Fleener goes off to the right. Basically a slot man. Luck's going to take it himself, and he's short. But did he get the first down? Did not. Brings up a very interesting decision here. Nick Perry made the stop, and Shaw can either kick the field goal for the tie right now, try to get the first down to the touchdown. It's 4th and short. You know what Luck wants to do.
They're bringing in the big boys here, the jumbo set. Big offensive lineman and Stephon Taylor, the running back.
Timeout. Want to make sure they did not pick up a five-yard penalty. Let's go back.
The play that got them down and deep into USC territory, Gaffney hands the football off there to Wilkerson, pitches it back, and Luck throws it down to the true freshman Ty Montgomery. Pretty good effort that time by SC's freshman Wiley as well, just to stop Montgomery from scoring. Doesn't give up on the play. And again, there is Luck out to the outside. SC's got to recognize that he's out there as a receiver. And as soon as a quarterback's lined up at receiver and starts to move towards the backfield, chances are they're going to flip it back to him to throw the football. They're down 20-10. They kind of cranked up the intensity as an offense here these last couple series.
Stewart and a full house. Got the first down. So it'll be first down and goal for Stanford. Did not need the touchdown.
Unfortunately for a lot of the fans here at the Coliseum, I think they were thinking it was fourth and goal. A little deflating when they saw the first down marker pop up there after that first down. But Stanford needs a yard or two. They're going to get into that jumbo set. They're going to let you know it's coming. It's a matter of can you match up to their physicality on that fourth and short.
Jeremy Stewart, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and they hand off, keep it, touchdown, Andrew Luck. Great sleight of hand. I thought he had given it to the lead fullback, but he kept it himself and then took it in on a quarterback delay. And Stanford regains the lead.
Well, there's the composure we've talked about. And Andrew Luck delivers for the Cardinal. The last two drives, they've needed points, and he brings them all the way down and puts 2 touchdowns on the board and regain the lead.
And Eric Whitaker tacks on the extra point.
And you love this because you see Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and others. Watch the hand get in there and see that it's not just the hand, it's the head and the body language. He fooled the defense. I don't think they realized he had the football. But it's not just the hand, it's the head and the body language. Hides the ball, does a great job with his technique. You know, that was something he worked on hard even last year with Jim Harbaugh as a head coach, being a former quarterback. Any kind of advantage you can get over the defense, you always want to take. And those are the small things that Andrew Luck can do for an offense.
So this game has loosened up a little bit.
It sure has. It sure has.
Third quarter has exploded.
This is kind of what we were thinking in the first half.
Well, Stanford has been a second-half team this year, and now it'll be Matt Barkley's turn. Still 1:22 left in quarter number 3.
Last 2 touchdown drives for Stanford. Andrew Luck has taken over 7 of 8 combined on those 2 drives and has a touchdown pass and also has run a touchdown in.
Robert Woods back deep. Now Whitaker has struggled with his kickoffs here. So they'll take it on the ground and not risk going out of bounds. Bobbled by one of the blockers, and that wound up with a better result than going out of bounds. So Barkley back, throws incomplete, a penalty flag. Penalty against Stanford. Grimble, the tight end, was the intended target, and he was interfered with.
Pass interference. On the defense, number 35. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I think Jarek Lancaster, frustrated here, does not have his head turned around. And I don't know how much he actually bumped him. He's stride for stride, but it's the head. When you don't turn your head around in coverage, and if there's even a little bit of contact, they're going to make the call.
Now, Amir Carlisle, I believe, the freshman from Santa Clara, California, he's only 5'10", is in at running back here for the Trojans, and they're going to drop it off to him. So the first appearance of Carlisle, and he's just short of the 50-yard line on that first down.
And Brent, with Dylan Baxter no longer a part of this team, they're hoping that Carlisle can provide that spark. You know, a guy who can catch the ball to the backfield, has great quickness. They just slide him out, kind of a little slip screen there, and they pick up 8 yards. But he's the kind of player you just want to get out there and try to make this big, physical Stanford defense try to catch up with.
Curtis McNeil back on the field. This is McNeil. Daylight again for a first down, and he is into Stanford territory on the 44-yard line. Lancaster makes the stop and shaken up on the play. So they check that. That's Brown who is down.
Terrence Brown was actually at the other end of the contact there where McNeil runs it in there hard. McNeil, low center of gravity, 5'7", about 185 pounds. And with Tyler down, they've had to rely on him. He stepped up big here in the second half. But watch how hard he runs his football for being an undersized guy. There's Brown right there trying to make the hit. It was a big collision there, and Brown took the worst of it. He felt that right away. Like I said, that was a big collision. It looks like right side, whether it's a shoulder or an arm. He is in pain, and that is a position they don't have a lot of depth, Brent. That secondary is already dinged up.
Barkley, short drop, has plenty of time, can't find a receiver on a sort of a throwback to McNeil, and McNeil crosses the 40-yard line as we come to the end of the third quarter. So we had defense in the first half and then fireworks in the third quarter. What will come in the fourth? We're about to find out. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, the torch has been lit for the fourth quarter here in the Los Angeles Coliseum, which has hosted a couple of Olympic Games through the years. Traveler led the procession out, and the flame was ignited, and now we'll see if the Trojans are ignited here as we start the fourth quarter. And that was Tarpley making the stop for the Cardinal.
Tarpley's been active. They have done a good job of rotating bodies, the Cardinal have at linebacker. They have played 7 or 8 different defenders in that area. There are 4 linebacker spots. And all of them very similar with their physical attributes. Of course, Chase Thomas, number 44, is their leader, their anchor that they count on. But they have done a good job of trying to keep those bodies fresh, matching up against Barkley and SC's offense.
3rd and 4 from the Cardinal 38. Pressure coming. They run away from it for the first down with McNeil. Curtis McNeil stepping up for USC.
He sure has, and I think, like all great backs, the more you get the football, the more you get into a rhythm. And he's starting to feel it without a doubt. And, you know, Brent, that injury to Terrence Brown, the sophomore corner, number 6, when he tried to tackle McNeil, he's out of the game. And Johnson Batamasi, 27, is back in the game. In fact, matched up at the bottom with Robert Woods. And at some point, USC will feel that they need to try to go after number 27.
McNeil Crosses the 30 to the 28-yard line.
The reason right now they feel that they have to run the ball, that's the answer to a defense putting double coverage on a wide receiver. They've got Batamasi up tight on Woods, a safety behind him. You've only got a certain number of defenders in the box. You've got to be able to run the ball.
Defense is signaled in from the Stanford sideline. And they're going to bring pressure off of it on the slant. Got a man. Touchdown. Marquise Lee, the freshman, finally broke free. And there's a penalty flag in the end zone. Two of them come flying.
The touchdown is good. After the play, taunting number 9 on the offense. That penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff.
Coaching him up.
Well, you can see what Lane Kiffin is talking about with this young man's physical ability, but he'll learn. He's a true freshman. Not only on the sideline with the coach, but in the film room when he gets ridiculed and embarrassed by his teammates and coaches. Part of being a true freshman, especially at that position, Brent, as you know.
Hidari tacks on the extra point. USC leads it by 3, but because of the penalty, Andrew Luck should have good field position coming up. So now forced to kick off from the 15-yard line after Marquise Lee's taunting penalty. Then Owosu. 35, 40-yard line. And down at the 43.
Brent, we've talked so much about Andrew Luck's recognition. Here, you see Barkley this time recognizes the safety's going to come on the blitz. He sees it right away, and that's going to give him one-on-one opportunity. But when he sees Lee, instead of throwing it upfield to where the free safety is, he throws it flat, which allowed Lee to be able to get underneath. See, he sees the blitz, makes the check. Here comes the blitz. Good job of picking it up, gets the ball out of his hands, but he throws it flat, which allows Lee to not just catch it, but get underneath to the free safety and then race to the end zone.
Young man with a magnetic smile. First down and 10 now. It's Andrew Luck's turn. Bootleg coming over hard to the right. Throws in underneath. And that was Hewitt down at the 45, a 2-yard gain.
Ryan Hewitt has been really involved in this attack tonight from Stanford. He is a tight end by trade, but plays a lot of fullback because of the depth that they have at that position. A lot like Owen Marisek last year and how valuable he is to this offense.
Downfield, complete again to Whalen. And Griff Whalen is becoming a bit of a go-to guy here in the second half for Andrew Luck.
Again, if you're going to give Andrew Luck a chance to have a receiver to be able to get into this area right here with one high safety, he gets into rhythm. He's going to get the ball out of his hands and throw it between the safety and the corner. That is pitch and catch for a guy like Andrew Luck with Griff Whalen.
They come back with the run game. Taylor just not to give it up completely as we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary. Andrew Luck has now thrown for better than 250 yards along with his 2 touchdowns. Matt Barkley has his first touchdown, but he's also thrown the only interception of the night, and Luck has rushed for a touchdown. Second down and 8.
That's where they trust his preparation, his experience, empties things out, and he allow him to read the defense, get the offense into a good play.
Hit on the release, has it. Taylor, first down to the 26-yard line. Andrew Luck took a lick, and Cameron Fleming, the right tackle, is down in a heap. He has been taken out already earlier in this game, and Tyler Mabry replaced him.
Again, you have an empty set. You've got to get the ball out of your hands in a hurry. Perry gets in there. Kennard from the other side gets in there. But, Brent, this is where a quarterback doesn't look over to the sideline and try to get confirmation from an offensive coordinator. He calls the play that he likes, ends up just checking it down to Taylor, who's off to the left flat.
Andrew Luck will remind you of Peyton Manning. When you watch the Indianapolis Colts when he was healthy, Peyton Manning would dictate everything out there. As you see, his right tackle is injured now. Andrew Luck does the same thing for the Stanford offense. Taylor hit in the backfield that time. He could not get back to the line of scrimmage. Kennard, Devon Kennard, a converted linebacker coming off the end.
And Brent, I really thought Kennard the last couple years has been exposed at times in space as a linebacker when he was up on his feet. Monty Kiffin decided we got to get faster. They moved Dion Bailey to an outside linebacker position. Pollard has helped out, and that allowed Kennard to go down and put his hand in the dirt. He's making a lot more plays up front. Now he can use some quickness up front.
Second down and 10. Quick to the flat. Stopped at the 25-yard line by Bailey. You mentioned Bailey. And he comes up and makes another stop. Dion Bailey is a redshirt freshman from Lakewood.
And a lot of times on the field tonight, Brent, we've seen Dion Bailey, we've seen Lamar Dawson, who's a true freshman, Hayes Pollard, who's out there as a redshirt freshman, 3 freshmen at times playing linebacker, but Monty Kiffin rotating a lot of bodies himself, trying to stay fresh.
In trouble. Sacked. Brought down by Kennard. There is the Monty Kiffin speed off the edge.
And Brent, watch the recognition here on third down by Harris. Right here, he's going to eye up the running back, Taylor. Watch how he just feels this. Right away, he just takes him out. That's where Luck wanted to go with the football, but you can see that Harris takes him completely away, and by the time you have Luck trying to make something out of nothing, the pressure is too much.
Tonight, the Trojans have sacked Andrew Luck as many times as he's been sacked in his previous 7 games. They have gotten to him twice. And now Woods goes back deep for this punt. So there's a penalty flag. So Stanford unable to take advantage of that field position after the penalty on the touchdown.
Now things
delay a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Mains 4th down.
Really
interesting. A little more room.
Really interesting.
He wants to see if he can bang Woods back inside the 10. Got a coverage man coming in. They've got it. They got to it. Took the 5-yard penalty, gave him a little more space, and it paid off. USC leading Stanford by a field goal, coming out from the shadow of their own end zone. Here's McNeil, who's had a spectacular second half. Michael Thomas makes the stop, and he gets it out to about the 7-yard line. A little breathing room here.
Yeah, the more I watch Curtis McNeil, the more I just think that he fits this offense and what they want to do, because the way he runs with urgency and passion. I mean, when he gets the football, he's going to give you everything that he has. And I think right now he's a great complement with what Matt Barkley in this passing game is trying to do to the Stanford defense.
I'm going to stick right with him, and this will be 3rd and managed. But Herbie, you mentioned the fact that Dylan Baxter no longer with the team, a very ballyhooed running back out of San Diego. And now Ellison, their fullback, number 40, shaken up on the play and down. But we should also point out that another very talented freshman is not playing tonight because of an injury, and that's George Farmer. And he's a freshman from right here in Los Angeles. They've converted him from wide receiver to running back. He was used in one play against Notre Dame last week. I believe it was a flare to the outside. He's been nicked up, and coach was really hoping to have him. But Curtis McNeil has got to carry the load. Should anything happen to him, Amir Carlisle or DJ Morgan, another redshirt freshman from Van Nuys, would have to check in. And Curtis McNeil, the little guy, has carried 16 times here tonight for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. And this is a big loss if Ellison can't hang in. He's a very key part of the USC offense. Ellison is up. I told the coaches, Herbie, that after 10 years, Havili finally left. You had to get somebody else back there in that spot.
Oh, he was a great one.
Wasn't he, though?
And they utilize a fullback. One of these offenses, they're not just putting a fullback back there to block. They're going to throw the ball to him. They're going to let him run.
It's kind of refreshing to have a dinosaur game, isn't it?
It is.
Throwback.
Catch our breath a little bit.
Herbie, have you got a tight end?
We got a tight end.
They're down at 5. Buckley's going to throw for it. A little bit of a mix-up. Carpenter unable to sit down. They want to get to the spot for the first down and 4th and 5, and you can tell the quarterback is unhappy about it.
He's frustrated with Robert Woods. And we go back to what we talked about in the first half with the quarterback and this receiver who has not practiced as much this week. Are they on the same page? By Barkley's reaction, Robert Woods there, a mental error and a mistake, and now Lane Kiffin's coming over to talk to him.
They weren't in the same library on that play.
No, that's been a reoccurring theme for USC tonight between Barkley and their best receiver, Robert Woods.
And they're ready to punt it, Herbie, and it looks like Stanford and Luck will get favorable field position again. This is a fine punt. Terrell back to the 40. Breaks free, midfield. 40, 35. Brought down at the 30-yard line. A brilliant return by Drew Terrell out of Chandler, Arizona. 30-yard return off a 53-yard punt. How big is this? He's made a heck of a move, didn't he? Well, we'll see what Stanford can do with it when you come back.
Stanford defense does their job, and then they get the big return by Terrell to set this drive up for Stanford.
Bootleg again, and he's going to take it all the way. Has a first down.
Another element that Andrew Luck can bring to an offense is, and I love the call on 1st and 10, you're thinking the power game, a naked. There's nobody running a route. That's just hoping the defense buys the play fake, gets the quarterback to the outside and the edge, and he has speed. He turned that corner. He's thinking about trying to get that ball into the end zone.
Soccer player as a youngster growing up in Europe. First down and 10 from the 15. Play action. Breaks away with his strength, now fires toward the end zone, and his receiver had broken it off a little bit easy, so in effect he threw it away. Owosu was the intended target. There was pressure from Perry.
They did not blitz again. Monty Kiffin doing a good job. These are the 2 sacks that we've seen tonight where they've mixed up their coverage, mixed up their at times disguising their blitzes, at times they're coming after him. This previous play, they did not come after him. They just rushed with 4. They have a lot of stunts working for him up front. You can see the pressure that's been on Luck all night.
They'll use Taylor, try to stretch it out. And he barges to about the 12-yard line. Gallipo making the stop. Chris Gallipo. Now it is 3rd and 9. Stanford down by a field goal. Looking at a 3rd and 9 with 6:20 remaining.
This is where USC has had some success in getting after Andrew Luck on these 3rd down and long situations. Luck's down at the bottom, Brent.
Direct snap to him, and Gaffney slammed at the 12 by Pollard. Pollard made the stop, number 10, Hayes Pollard.
I think you and I are sitting here wondering, 3rd down and long, you got Andrew Luck. And they decide to take the ball away from Andrew Luck and put it into a running back's hands. Pollard with a big hit there to push Gaffney back, but surprising call by Pep Hamilton and Stanford there to not allow Luck a chance to throw it.
Remember now that Matt Khalil has blocked 4 kicks this year as Eric Whitaker sets up now for the tying field goal, 29 yards. Slides it right. Got it. Oh, that was close. Deadlocked at 27. 28 points were scored in the third quarter. 2 touchdowns apiece. Whitaker with the ball on the tee. Remember, he kicked it along the ground the last time. Short pop up and down at the 40-yard line. Well, Stanford with the nation's longest win streak at 15. There you can see that Boise State, LSU, both idle, as is Alabama, and of course Oklahoma State a winner today. So there are your longest win streaks, and they could step up those 4 if Stanford can't put USC away here.
On the ropes, and 2 questionable decisions here by Stanford. One, the third down to take the ball out of Andrew Luck, and now a pooch kickoff where now USC starts this drive near their own 40-yard line.
Barkley, Lee at midfield. It'll be spotted at the 50 for a first down for the Trojans.
Again, that's the matchup. They're going to continue to work the left side of the offense, the right side of the defense. Matchup is that going after 27, Johnson Badamasi, who's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's just big and physical as a corner. When you've got receivers that can play out in space, you want to try to exploit that.
Barkley has thrown for 192 yards here tonight, 21 of 33. Keep it in the air, incomplete. Second down and 10. Play fake to McNeil. Here's Lee. Lee crosses midfield, still struggling to pick up a couple of yards.
Well, not a whole lot of room back into the boundary. I think Lane Kiffin, who again is known for his ability to create the matchups, I think was hoping that the play action and the motion might catch Stanford out of position, but it did not. You had Chase Thomas out there waiting, and also Michael Thomas and Johnson Batamosi that were there to clean it up. It's a big third down here in this game.
Need to reach the 40-yard line for a first down. Need 8. Stanford tightens up its coverage, shows pressure. Here they come. Can't get there. Incomplete. Lee wanted the penalty flag and didn't get it. And backside heat was coming on, number 7.
They brought pressure. They played man-to-man, showing confidence in that secondary that is depleted now through some injuries. They got just enough pressure there, I think, to affect the accuracy of what Barkley was trying to do, and they did not have a chance. Really good coverage that time by Barry Browning, locked up there with Marquise Lee.
So this is the favored punt formation now of so many college teams. You get more men downfield and you prevent the big-time return. And there it is, forcing the fair catch at the 17-yard line by Terrell. Gaffney checks in now as a running back for Andrew Luck. Fakes that inside handoff. Throw back. A little too high with that pass, and it is incomplete to Tyler Gaffney, who slipped out of the backfield as a receiver.
Well, Griff Whalen caught a lot of attention from the USC defense. You can see Gallipo and Bailey both kind of starting to sink into coverage. You see the touch there by Luck, and just put a little bit too much touch on that football, floated on him a little bit.
Second and 10 as Taylor checks back into the Cardinal backfield. Taylor running to the left, to the 20. maintains his balance, and let's see where they mark this. This was a heck of a run by Stephen Taylor, who got over to the outside, and watch this.
Yeah, tremendous effort. Great block by DeCastro. Hewitt's involved, but it's right here, that extra effort, the way he's able to get away from Gallipo and get upfield. There's Hewitt involved in a block on McDonald to tight end. Now you see a shake and bake upfield. Doesn't give up on it. And you're middle linebacker, you got to wrap up when these guys are out in the open field.
Jim Fogeltans is our replay operator up close to us, and he's taking a look at this to see if the knee went down after contact.
Yeah, it did. Sure looks like it.
Can you tell? Is it indisputable?
This is a great look right here. I'll be able to tell you in 1 second. Yes, sir. Down.
Herbie says turn it over. No first down.
Yes, sir.
This is a big decision coming up.
It is. Should be about 3rd down and 3. Right leg definitely touches. Boom, right there. But still appreciate the effort, right?
That was a great effort. It really was.
After review, the runner's knee was down. The ball be placed at the 23-yard line. 3rd down and 3 yards to go. And the clock will start on my ready for play.
There we go.
3:18 left in regulation. Tie game. The ball in Andrew Luck's hands. Straight back. Intercepted. Touchdown. The youngster from Florida, Nickel Roby, all of 5 foot 8 inches. He's a favorite of the coaching staff, and a pick 6. The extra point.
Brent, it's 3rd down and 3. Nickel Roby jumps the route, takes a chance off to the right. You can see him break on the football. Even really before Andrew Luck threw the ball, he was taking a chance. It was a gamble. It's 3rd and 3, and it just goes to show you, even a talented veteran quarterback like Andrew Luck trusts his receiver. But it's 3rd down and short, and the USC defense was anticipating a short route. You take a chance, and sometimes it pays off. Great instincts, great athletic ability there by Roby. 5'8", 165-pound sophomore from Florida.
Happens to the best of them.
Yes, sir.
Andrew Luck's 4th interception of the season results in a pick 6 and a USC lead in the Los Angeles Coliseum with 3:08 remaining. 34-27. For Kirk Herbstreit and Aaron Andrews, I'm Brent Musburger as we settle in for the conclusion of what has been a dandy Pac-12 showdown here in Los Angeles. Plenty of time for Andrew Luck. Here comes Montgomery. Tripped up and down to the 23-yard line.
Well, Brent, we've already seen undefeated Kansas State go down, undefeated Clemson go down, and now undefeated Stanford on the ropes. And this is the play potentially that could be the game changer. Roby, the corner, Nickel Roby, jumps a route on 3rd and 3. A bit of a gamble, takes a chance, but goes with his instincts on 3rd down. It takes a chance and steps in front of an Andrew Luck pass and takes it back to the house for the go-ahead touchdown.
So we've had 4 lead changes in this game. Taylor will be the Stanford running back. Comes in underneath to Montgomery. Picks up a first down. So we're seeing more and more of the freshman from Dallas. He's 6'2", 205, Ty Montgomery.
We've seen Andrew Luck earlier in the game when USC had a 10-point lead, drive Stanford down and deal with the pressure. And now with the game on the line, let's see what he has in him.
Steps up, fires. Owosu was on that far side. And that was Montgomery again. And so Stanford with 15 consecutive wins. Now Whalen comes to the right side. Steps up, drops it to Montgomery, who can't get the handle. Thrown a little bit behind him, and he was juggling it. And it'll be another 3rd down coming up.
This defensive line deserves a game ball from Monty Kiffin and Lane Kiffin. These guys have faced one of the best offensive lines in the country. They've held up very, very well against the run. Only 110 yards rushing against a team that averages 219 yards. When Luck has dropped back to pass, even when he's completed balls, a lot of times he's been under duress. It's not always been because of blitzes. A lot of times it's just the front four doing their jobs and using their athletic ability to get by Stanford.
Needs to reach the 46-yard line. Fires, and Owosu drops it, and there's a flag. They hit him up high. It's a personal foul on T.J. McDonald, who I think got real unlucky on this play. Let's take a look at the replay. He got it up high. Owosu is down. It's going to be an automatic first down. I also thought there might have been some sort of an illegal block.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 7 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Take a look now at T.J. McDonald and see if he's not unlucky. He's coming from outside the play. Owosu now goes down. You have to call that.
Have to call it. It's the most controversial call right now in college and pro football. You talk to a defensive guy that's sitting right now at home watching. If Matt Millen's watching this, right, he's saying that's football. That's football. But it's an effort that we've seen from the officials based on what the coaches have asked, that when there's contact into the headgear, you've got to make the call.
Here's why I say it was unlucky. Watch number 81 start to go down. It becomes a lower target. If he had stayed up, and believe me, these guys are moving fast enough, they can't come off that.
No.
And that's why I thought TJ was very unlucky. You have to call it.
Yeah.
Got him up high. There's no question about that.
And you just made a great point about these players are playing so fast, and now they're being asked after being trained their entire careers since the time they're in Pop Warner to now all of a sudden, okay, now you've got to always hit receivers low when you've been trained your whole life to try to separate them from the football. But nonetheless, Stanford catches a break.
And Herbie, they lose a big target on Owosu, who goes off to the sideline now. Montgomery and Whalen, and of course Kobe Fleener, the tight end, who's been relatively quiet. Now Luck takes off. Can he get the first down? Yes. To the 30, dives to the 29-yard line, and here he comes. 2 minutes to go.
Those linebackers are bailing out. The Tampa 2 that Monty Kiffin has made famous in the NFL and college. Gallipo, the middle linebacker, just bailed. He got right back in the deep third, the middle of the coverage. You saw that Luck recognized it and took off.
So Luck is back this time. Fires to a wide-open Whalen. He's to the 24-yard line before he's wrestled down by Roby.
And Andrew Luck is in complete command right now. We're under 2 minutes. Stanford has 2 timeouts. Time at this point is really not an issue. It's more about execution and doing what they need to do with this football.
Fires a strike to the 13-yard line. Toilolo. So Toilolo is a junior from La Mesa, California. He's one of the tight ends on this team. Big 6'8" target.
And only the 6th catch by a tight end in this game. Stanford came in throwing predominantly to tight ends, only 6 tonight.
They come back with the running play, and breaking is Taylor, and he picks up 9 strong yards. Just crosses the 5. It'll be very close to the 5-yard line.
And now Stanford not in any hurry. They have confidence in their ability to execute down in the red zone. It's been a strength of theirs all year. They know the quarterback on the other sidelines and the respect that David Shaw has for Lane Kiffin and Matt Barkley. So they're at this point not in a hurry.
Got a timeout called by Stanford.
Timeout. Stanford. That's their first charge timeout.
Second down and 2 now. Hewitt is in front of Taylor. Play action. Throws to the end zone. Battle for it down there in the corner. Incomplete. It was intended for Fleener.
And Brent, what a job by Shane Horton. He knew that at that point they're going to look for Fleener. What a great throw up in the air where Fleener can have a chance to make a play on it. This is that call where it's the continuation. Man, both officials right there. You got to be able to hold on to the football through the catch. It's not just 1 foot down, it's through the catch. The ball is, as he's rolling over, the ball comes out. That's the right call on the field.
Third down. And timeout. They're taking another look at it upstairs.
Stanford, that's their third and final charge timeout. This may be a 30-second charge timeout.
Maybe wanting the officials to take another look at that.
Absolutely.
Along with trying to make sure in this big 3rd and 2 they're on the same page. There are times I know a lot of people get confused about, hey, he's got 1 foot down, he's got the football, it's a touchdown. But it's the continuation of the play. It's not just getting the 1 foot down. It's does he continue to hold on to the football to the end of the play in order for it to be called a touchdown. The crew is all over that. 3 officials there looking at the call.
Now let's talk about what Stanford just did. They burned their last timeout.
With a dead
They've
clock.
got to have a 2-play sequence going here.
Yeah.
We're down inside of a minute. All right. They can't get somebody tackled. They can't give up a sack.
You can get a first down and stop the clock. 3rd and 2.
That's what they're going to try to do. Bangs for the first down, and the clock will quickly stop.
Right.
So with 44 seconds, the clock has not been started yet. On his signal. Now it's winding. Taylor, end zone, touchdown. We are an extra point away from a tie.
How about that for an answer by Stanford? 10 plays and 76 yards. Let's make sure Taylor gets the ball across the plane. He does for the touchdown. Tremendous job by the Cardinal in the offense there. And remember that 15-yard penalty on T.J. McDonald.
So if ever there was a time that Khalil was going to try to get another block, getting airborne, but Whitaker gets it off in time and high enough. And we are tied at 34 with 38 seconds to go. Coming back from a pick 6, Andrew Luck drives the Cardinal to a tying touchdown. Impressive.
Very, very impressive. And that's what separates the great quarterbacks from the quarterbacks that are still growing. He's a veteran. He hasn't played flawlessly tonight. But again, I think if you're a Stanford fan, don't forget about that play on 3rd and 6 where T.J. McDonald on an incompletion got in it a little bit high on Owusu. 15-yard penalty gave Stanford a first down.
As we take a look at this last play, right there is what Herbie was talking about. And the personal foul gives him an automatic first down. And then Luck, who is a very good runner, hands it off to Taylor. And that gave the Cardinal the opportunity to tie it with the extra point.
In true luck tonight when he's had to run. They put a lot of pressure on him. 7 different times he's run the football for 23 yards. He's had a couple times where he's been able to pick up valuable yards. It's not so much how many, but the yards when he's been able to pick them up. Also has scored on a touchdown.
I can't believe that Curtis McNeil, who's been a workhorse, is back here with Robert Woods as the deep man. This will be Woods, and McNeil's going to be one of the lead blockers. How about that? Got a pretty good chip on a coverage man, and it's out to the 25. And so here comes Matt Barkley. Herbie, 22 of 36, 194 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception.
And not only that, Brent, you think about the kicker tonight. Hadari made a 50-yarder, so you're thinking you've got to at least try to get to between the 35 and the 40-yard line of Stanford. Barkley has confidence in his receivers. It's just a matter of will he have enough time to throw the football. It's been an issue at times throughout this game.
Barkley, straight back, fires complete to Woods.
Remember, he has all 3 timeouts. Clock stops, obviously, at a first down.
Andre Hadari, who kicked a 50-yarder at the end of the first half, warming up. Pump fake. Wants to go sideline. Woods, incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Little slant and go. Double move. Tried to get the ball and try to get the corner. Browning to bite on it.
Now, it might be a clock problem as the officials, the back judge came running up.
The clock kept running.
19 seconds.
19 seconds, so they'll put 7 back on. You know, Herbie, has this been a wonderful week if you're a sports fan? Remember last week when we were Michigan State and that Hail Mary pass against Wisconsin, the World
started
Series,
things off.
Game 6
What a World
during
Series.
the week, and then the Cardinals come back to win it, and here we are tonight, 19 seconds away from OT.
20 yards away from a shot at a field goal.
Barkley's got to get it off to the sideline, and he does just get it off to Telfer. Randall Telfer.
Boy, the right tackle on that play, Kevin Graff, looked like he got away with a hold on Ben Gardner. Watch this, Brent, 77. He's locked in right there.
Oh, did he?
And right there, he just grabs him. No call. The referee is looking right at it. I was waiting for him to reach for his flag. They get away with one and pick up huge yards. Still 3 timeouts left.
They're closing in now. Remember, he's kicked a career-long 50-yarder at the end of the first half. Short drop, hit on the release, incomplete. And Carswell, the intended target. We haven't called his name very often here tonight. Brandon Carswell.
Hadari, we mentioned 50-yarder. He's going to call a timeout here with 9 seconds. He has plenty of timeouts to use to be able to get this play that they want. There needs to be even a little bit more urgency there from Barkley. He's sitting back in the pocket, and even though he has time, the game clock is ticking down. Every second is valuable to Matt Barkley. He essentially needs 5 to 7 yards, 5 yards, to at least give his man a chance at a potential game-winning field goal. And when he's sitting back there holding on to the ball, those seconds are ticking off.
There could be. I don't want to make too much out of it because we haven't had much wind here tonight. But there could be a little more of a breeze, just a touch, blowing against him on this attempt. Remember, he kicked the other one the other way. And if you look at those flags, I just looked down there, just fluttering just a bit. I don't want to make a big thing out of it. Not sure. But the flags have been moving a little bit in a different direction down there. So here we go now. 2nd down, 9 seconds. Barkley going to set a screen in the middle to Woods. Woods running away, coming to the left, out of bounds as the clock runs out.
The question's going to be, Brent, did he get to the sidelines? It's tough to see from the game angle because of the Stanford players. but did he make it to the boundary?
The game clock ran out. Overtime.
Watch this with the clock.
He's racing to the sidelines. Probably should have just gone down before it got to that point. See, there's still 1 second when he went down, but did he reach the sidelines? Just depends on if that official felt that he got out of bounds.
Now, Coach Lane Kiffin is saying there was a second left.
In the game clock.
So now instant replay. We'll take a look at this. I am not sure, even if they give him the second, that he's close enough.
Fair, and he's from the left hash. But how about that? You talk about drama? You just talked about the week we've had in sports.
Amazing.
And we've had Kansas State go down, Clemson go down, Stanford on the ropes here, the BCS standings. We haven't even gotten to LSU and Alabama next Saturday. This is good stuff. And now we're going to have a chance for an official review to see if we're going to have a chance at a last-second field goal. Based on the clock that we showed,
I see the clock at the upper right.
Boy, he's down. There's still probably half a second left. His body is down. Like I said, my question was, is he questioning whether or not he reaches out of bounds? You can see the clock. He's down. If they felt he reached the sideline, then they should have 1 second left on the clock.
The call on the field is, let's go to overtime. Where have I seen this movie before?
But I want to see if what this official does after he is down. What kind of movement? It looks like he gives the sign of stop the clock. You can see him better here, Brent, at the bottom. So according to what he is seeing, he is saying to stop the clock. He'll come back into your picture. See, he says that's. So he felt that he got out of bounds. And if he felt that he got out of bounds, we've already shown you that there was a second left by the time he landed out of bounds. I rest my case. Not that I'm for anybody. I just want to see a great game. But I think they're going to have another chance at a final play.
After review, the runner's knee was down inbounds.
Okay.
The clock should have ran down to 0. We're going to overtime.
Lane, you lost the argument, my friend.
Let's go to OT.
Get ready for overtime. It's not going to be changed. 34 all. OT is coming up. The discussion continues here in the Los Angeles Coliseum. Lane Kiffin pleading his case. As the knee goes down, Kiffin now says, I called timeout on the other side. We take a look at replay as to when he comes down. Question becomes, when did the official stop the clock on the far side so that he could use a timeout? Now the officials were huddled. And the call on the field, of course, is let's go to overtime. And so here come the captains out to the middle of the field. It's been a dramatic night here in Los Angeles.
We got overtime. All right, I'm going to toss a coin. And what are you going to select? You're going to ask for heads. All right, it is tails. You've won the toss. You can take offense, defense, or end of field. Defense. USC won the toss, and they're going to take defense. Which end do you want to play on? I want to play on this end. All right, gentlemen, you each get one additional timeout. One timeout per overtime series.
So the referee giving a pretty good explanation of what we face here in overtime. Both teams will handle the ball. This is not going to be sudden death. Started from the 25-yard line. There will be a play clock. And if we hit the third OT, we're going for the 2-point conversions.
And with USC winning the toss, of all the college overtimes that we've seen, you always want to start on defense. Just
Absolutely.
to have a chance to see what you're facing. If you look at it like an inning, this is kind of the top of the first right here. And you always want to be that home team to see if you need a touchdown to tie or a field goal or whatever it might be. How great is this? Chance to see these two quarterbacks tonight, now to see them in overtime. Let's see who's able to execute better to try to get a win.
Andrew Luck against Matt Barkley. Andrew Luck in regulation, 25 of 36, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. First down of overtime. Hand off to Taylor. And Taylor is being pushed back after gaining 4 yards, getting close to the 20. He'll be spotted around the 21-yard line.
Now, this has been a long night for these teams, and you're facing these quarterbacks. You're facing a physical offensive line and running game. Durability is a question. Mental toughness is really being challenged right now for both of these defenses. See if either one of these defenses can come up with a stop.
Mabry continues at right tackle. Fleming was injured. First down on the Luck scramble to the 13-yard line.
Again, the pressure is coming off of the edge, and Andrew Luck knows that he's got to step up into the pocket. The linebackers clear out. Here's the athletic ability. Here's the speed and quickness. There's Pollard, Hayes Pollard, a freshman trying to bring down 237-pound Andrew Luck. The speed and the toughness there, Luck on display.
Not giving up on the running game. So Taylor continues his workload here tonight. Taylor on the game has carried 20 times for 84 yards. Remember, the stats in overtime count.
That power play, this offense lives and dies by, and they will continue to run it. They never lose confidence in their ability to run the football, whether it's Taylor back there or Gaffney. They pull the backside guard and lead with that fullback.
Stewart and Gaffney check into the backfield. Quick pitch, end around. Little trickeration on the hook and ladder. And Stewart comes around and takes the lateral.
It's tough here, Brent. Back into the boundary. You're trying to get a big offensive tackle out there, and Jonathan Martin, you're hoping that the defense reacts and follows the receiver, Montgomery, but that time they stayed home pretty well.
3rd and 1. Some late substituting going on now by Stanford. Remember, they had 12 men in the huddle once tonight. 3rd and 1. Stewart is the running back. Over the top, dove for it. Jeremy Stewart from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, appeared to pick up the first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Cardinal.
There's that jumbo set. They bring in some extra linemen, some tight ends, and Stewart, who's kind of the hammer of this quartet of backs that they have. Shows a little bit of elevation there by the big fella, getting up and over the top there for the first down. Again, be careful the play action pass here on 1st and 10 inside the 5-yard line by Luck to try to find his tight end or fullback.
Power again. And Stewart is short of the end zone.
Lyman just trying to create just enough of a crease. And David Shaw, again, he believes in it. They told us all week, they tell their opponent, it's a matter of can you stop it. You know it's coming. It's can you match up and defend it. And SC, for the most part tonight, has done a pretty good job.
Look at that stacked D. They run at it over the top. He comes. Touchdown.
SC's defensive line submarined Stanford, and then they sent their linebackers and safeties over the top trying to meet Jeremy Stewart and have hope for a collision to push him back. But Stanford that time kind of did it the old-fashioned way by running the football. Andrew Luck had that one nice scramble for a first down, but for the most part, they ran the football.
So USC needs a touchdown and the extra point to send it to a second overtime.
Defensive line does their job trying to get low, but you can see they've got enough surge there by the Stanford offensive line. The Hewitt, the fullback, leads the way, and again Stewart for the second time in a row goes up into the air. Gallipo just a little bit late that time, so Stanford gets the touchdown.
Browning and Badamasi come out as the corners against Matt Barkley.
First and 10 at the 25.
Combination of McNeil running the football, Barkley trying to find Lee and Woods. There have been some drives where they have been on, and there have been other drives where they just, for whatever reason, have not been on the same page, especially Woods and Barkley.
Woods in motion. They come back with McNeil, and he slashes across the 20-yard line on that first down.
Ken Curtis McNeil having a great night. The offensive line facing this 3-4 defense. They have done a really good job at times of being able to sustain blocks and give McNeil room to run.
Weary running back. He has carried the load. Coming again. Breaks free. Battles toward that first down marker at the 15-yard line, and it's going to be close.
And Brent, you got to remember this guy's about 180 pounds, and you know how big these Stanford linebackers are? This is a 3-4 defense, and when you play a 3-4 defense, you're playing with 245, 250-pound linebackers that can run. And they're asking him to run right into him on most of these carries. He's showing a lot of toughness tonight.
So with the first down at the 15.
He's got Woods by himself at the top. One-on-one coverage. He's seeing the same thing I'm seeing. See him at the top. One-on-one against Browning if he wants it.
Looking in that direction. Throws it to the end zone. Woods runs and catches it. Just what he saw.
He saw the one-on-one coverage that we saw from up here. And when you see it, you've got to be able to capitalize on it. And this time, Barkley and Woods are in sync. Throws the ball away from the defender, right to where Woods can make a play on it, and he checked to that at the line of scrimmage. Good job there by Matt Barkley.
Andre Hidari slides it through. To the right, we'll go to the second overtime. So we'll take a break. Second overtime in the Coliseum, and now the roles will be reversed. Stanford will be on defense first, and Matt Barkley and the Trojan offense will come out starting at the 25-yard line to see what they can do.
And because USC just scored in the manner in which they did, be surprised to see the Stanford defensive staff leave these corners on an island. And more than likely they're going to protect him with safeties, which means you would think the ball will go back into the hands of Curtis McNeil, see if they can run the football. Maybe they'll leave him alone. We'll see if they get one-on-one matchup.
Terrence Brown checks back in at left corner. Barkley is ready after eyeing the defense, and that's exactly what they're going to do now. They're going to come with McNeil, and there is a penalty flag thrown on the play.
A face mask that time on Jarek Lancaster. See McNeil coming up clapping.
Hey, personal foul, face mask, number 35 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Every mistake can add up. Lancaster reaching to make a play. Grabs a hold of the visor more than the face mask, but it's still a penalty. Personal foul, half the distance.
So the ball will be spotted at the 12 for this first down. Carswell is split out, and now Woods will go in motion. Barkley will roll in that direction. Fire end zone too high. He had Carswell open.
He got a matchup that he liked. Woods got a lot of attention. He just put a little bit too much on that football. He's rolling to his right, got a lot of momentum going that way, and he just put a little bit too much velocity on the football and away from Carswell to make the catch.
Second and 10. Straight back, comes in underneath. Telfair battling, reaching for the end zone. Touchdown! Randall Telfair. One of the tight ends would not be stopped.
Brent, that is an amazing effort by a freshman, Telfair. Watch this. Watch him fight for this extra yard, the extra yards. He keeps his feet in bounds, and then he's just being held right here by Bonamassa, and he just said, let me just extend this across the plane for the touchdown. What an individual effort that time by Telfair.
Kadari tacks on the extra point, and now Stanford needs 7 points to force it to a third overtime.
They played man-to-man. Stanford brought a blitz. He dumped it down underneath to his tight end, and that is one of the best efforts we've seen tonight. Remember the mistake by Stanford's defense, the face mask there, half the distance to the goal line by Jarek Lancaster.
Andrew Luck's turn. Taylor's his running back. Luck takes off. Stopped at the 20-yard line, where it'll be second down. Bailey was there.
Brent, one of the few times we've not seen Luck and Griff Whalen on the same page. USC's corner to the right of the offense, Roby, as the ball was being snapped, he dropped in coverage. Whalen continued downfield with his route, and he should have broken it off. That's what Luck wanted to do. This time Luck's lined up to the right.
They have thrown off this, and they have run. They're going to run Gaffney. Gaffney for a first down. Penalty flag comes flying. Fourth time they have used the Wildcat formation tonight. Luck has thrown off of it once.
Holding on the offense, number 10. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains second down.
Jeff Mikan.
He actually tackles Chris Gallipo. Coming off to the right, number 10, lined up as a tight end. He heavily involved actually in the play to try to open up that hole. Mental note, another mistake here by Stanford.
Now, where was the ball spotted? Lane Kiffin is out on the field right now. The ball is being put in play on the 22-yard line. Luck in underneath to Montgomery. Montgomery battling for it at the 14-yard line.
Yeah, I think you're right. Lane Kiffin very upset about where they spotted that football after the holding call. But meanwhile, the freshman out of Dallas, Texas, Ty Montgomery, continues to be a receiver that Andrew Luck is looking up here in this second half and making plays. 6'2", 205 pounds.
First down from the 14-yard line. Taylor to the 10-yard line. Actually, they're going to spot it at the 11. Bailey with another stop here tonight.
Bailey has been active, just giving everything that he has, and he's actually down now. Remember, he's undersized, former safety, 200 pounds in there taking on those linemen, and also the backs. His backs are running hard. Giving you everything that he has. Good to see Bailey walking off. And we've gotten a little bit more of a shootout in the second half and into overtime, but not in the first half.
And as a result, a freshman, Trey Madden, number 13, has checked in. You see him moving now. He is coming on the outside. Luck lobs, got one-on-one. Touchdown, I believe. Yes, it is indeed. Toilolo, number 11, and right away they throw against that freshman linebacker who had come into the game.
Good call, Brent. And Toilolo is 6'8". Let me say that again. He's a tight end, like a power forward. It's 6'8", 262 pounds. Welcome to the game, true freshman Trey Madden. First play, he's in the game. Andrew Luck and David Shaw, Pep Hamilton dial him up and go after him, and the big man comes down with a catch.
This will be our last kick of the evening. Pulled it badly left. Got it. And now they have to go for two after every touchdown. Stanford holding its breath on that last extra point. We'll be right back with the third overtime. It was this close. Sellout crowd here in the Coliseum, and most of them still with us as we're tied at 48 and headed for our third overtime with a couple of Cardinal streaks on the line here. 15 consecutive wins, that's school record. 6 straight on the road, and that's the most since the early 90s. So now it will be Stanford going first in the third overtime. Taylor, daylight, 20, and he is out of bounds at about the 17-yard line.
Deion Bailey still out of the lineup, so the freshman Trey Madden still in there.
Second down and 2. Play action. Throw in underneath for the first down, and it is Ryan Hewitt, and a penalty flag on the hit.
It's a late hit, and he also hit him high. Definitely a personal foul here.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, number 29 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
This is Starling, who was one of the heroes of the win over Notre Dame in South Bend a week ago.
He hits him late. He also hits him high. I mean, it's just a no-no. And we're in overtime now, the third overtime. These players are being tested in more ways than one here. Mental and physical fatigue setting in.
SC stacks the front. Touchdown. And now they must go for two. Taylor bursts across, and I think, Herbie, you made a point that we are really seeing now. There is real fatigue out here.
No question about it.
On a part of both of these teams.
And when you see fatigue, the defense and their ability to tackle and reading their keys starts to slip. The advantage can go to the offense. There's not a lot of emotion in this Coliseum right now, which is also affecting this SC defense, making some mental mistakes here these last few series.
Gaffney checks into the backfield.
They use their timeout. The way this play worked for the touchdown, this opened up. This offensive line just opened it up. Taylor's got the kind of quickness. It's the same play that they love to run. Power play. Yankee, the backside guard, leads the way along with Hewitt. Taylor steps in there untouched. You know, this decision right here is huge. I mean, obviously the play call, the confidence, you work all week on these two-point plays. If you get put in a position, here's our 2 or 3 plays that we like, and then you try to adjust it the way the game is going, but you got to come up with points here.
And you're looking at a team that hasn't tried a two-point conversion all season, Stanford. Gaffney motions out of the backfield for Andrew Luck. Throws back wide open, got it. 56-48, Kobe Fleener with the two-point conversion, and that was a beautifully designed play. Fleener was all alone, and Luck knew he was going to be there.
And Brent, guess who he went after again? Now he looks off to his right, but here's the true freshman, and here's one of the best tight ends in the Pac-12. Watch him look off to the right. Watch Fleener throw the freshman Madden away. There's nobody there to pick him up. Second time they've tried to go after the young linebacker that has not played at all tonight until Dion Bailey had to check out of the game. There's that knowledge of Andrew Luck. Knows where to find the mismatch it's going to give him an advantage in the passing game.
Now the Trojans need the touchdown and the two-point conversion to force it to a fourth overtime. Barkley fires. Woods coming across. Dives for the end zone. That's Lee. Marquise Lee, the freshman. What a great effort by Lee.
Marquise Lee and Robert Woods just continue to show what they have in their athletic ability. He steps out of bounds, but Brent, he came across the middle. The ball was thrown accurately.
It's like he stepped out of bounds on the 4, didn't it?
Yeah, he looks like he's out of bounds at the 4.
Got a touchdown pass earlier tonight on the game. 7 for 94 yards and 1 score.
See, Barkley has time to throw. Comes across, and this is what the coaches love about him. Doesn't give up on the play. He's able to get away from Michael Thomas, a senior safety. Almost comes up with a touchdown. Comes from the top of the screen to the far right of Barkley. Barkley shows good patience there. And there's the special athletic ability from Lee, who's up and off the field.
So Lee will be out for this play, and Woods, number 2, comes to the bottom. where he's got a corner on him down there. It is 1st and goal for the Trojans, who are down 8. McNeil fumble. Cardinals win it. The win streak continues. A dramatic night comes to a devastating end for USC. Fumble into the end zone, recovered by the Cardinal. So Stanford continues its unbeaten ways as we take a look at this on the handoff.
It's Ben Gardner, 49, that collapses down on the play and separates the ball from Curtis McNeil, who's had a great game. Good effort there. Gardner comes down hard, and his right arm just overpowers McNeil and knocks that ball loose with the collision. And you wonder, Brent, you talked a lot about the wear and tear of Curtis McNeil, 19 carries going up against this defense, if maybe that was what eventually cost him, and Tarpley's able to pounce on top of it in the end zone. Stanford stays alive.
Winning streak continues. They figure to jump up to what? Number 4, Herbie, behind Oklahoma State, LSU, and Alabama?
You're going to have LSU and Alabama up there, and with Oklahoma State obviously still out there. And then here comes Stanford. Boise State's out there. It's just going to matter what the pollsters thought of Stanford's effort and whether or not the computers will start to move them up a little bit more.
Just a remarkable night as Stanford came in a 7-point favorite. And with the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, they win by 8 here tonight. And USC has to be devastated because, in effect, this was a bowl game for them. They're not eligible to go to a bowl game, and they lose this in triple overtime. Andrew Luck and the Cardinal, and the youngsters are still congratulating each other down on the field. Let's go down on the field. Here's Aaron Andrews.
Well, first of all, I know you want to talk about your teammates. Talk about the effort right there to recover the ball in the end zone.
Unbelievable. It's just characteristic of this team, don't stop, never quit. So proud to be a part of this team. Unbelievable.
Andrew, after you threw the interception in regulation, I saw your expression over on the sidelines. You got upset, but how did you calm down?
I realized, we still have time left. Still time to atone for your mistake. And I was very grateful for that. I'm grateful the guys trusted me and believing that we could go back out there and score.
What did you learn about yourself in the final drive to tie it and then going into 3 overtimes?
I don't know if I learned it. Yeah, I'm glad it happened. I don't know if it'll be a learning experience down the road. I was just relieved to score.
And finally, you told your team when USC took the lead to begin with, we need this adversity. What did your team prove against their toughest competition?
No, I think obviously USC, great team. What an unbelievable opponent to go against. But there's tough times during the season. So glad of our team for sticking it through. Just unbelievable. So happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Herbie, another dramatic Saturday night.
Just amazing, and you could see the emotion right there on the face of Andrew Luck, and even in his voice talking to Aaron. They found a way to win. It's not always going to be pretty when you have special seasons, but they put it together and got it done.
So what a great week if you're a St. Louis Cardinals fan or a Stanford Cardinal fan.
Absolutely.
You come up a big winner. 56-48 tonight. Stanford remains unbeaten. Thanks for watching ESPN on ABC. Now we take you to the studio for the Ford Wrap-Up Show, and here's Robert Flores. Robert, take it away.